Guys, we're finally here. We're finally at the pinnacle of WrestleMania week. It is WrestleMania Day 1. And here at the No Spots Podcast, we are here to not only help you get ready for both nights of WrestleMania, but recap everything else that has happened with WrestleMania week. Glad you could be with us, whether you're watching us on Facebook, whether you're watching us on the YouTube, or whether you're watching us on the Twitch gimmick. We thank you for joining us. DC's People's Champ here with you. Of course, I am joined by the Sith himself. Sith, what's going on in the basement, good sir?
Hello, good champ. Hello, everyone who's watching us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. How's everyone doing? You know, it's WrestleMania fucking weekend as it's finally upon us. You know, feeling a little Ozzy today, a little crazy train. I just need Ozzy to scream all aboard, basically, with his little laugh and everything. All in all, I'm ready to get this show on the road rolling, as well as this kick-ass wrestling weekend. Champ, how you doing, bro?
Well, we already talked about it pre-production. We're not going to rehash it, so we're just going to move on from there. And it would be awesome for Ozzy Osbourne to yell out "Crazy Train," seeing as though he was inducted into the Hall of Fame this past week. We may talk about that. We may not. I don't know. We'll see how much time we can get through with everything. We got a lot to cover this week. Plenty of stuff to talk about. Big shout out to Corey, who's in our Facebook chat. What's going on, Corey? One other little bit of housekeeping here is that I know that episodes 102, 103, and 104 are not up on our podcasting platforms. That is mostly my fault because I'm just not happy with the fact that the audios are probably not very good. And I haven't had a chance, well, I've been lazy mostly, to go on to at least on our YouTube page and pull those and turn those into MP3s and then upload those. I've just been very lazy, but I'm going to try to get to it this week so that way at least those audios can go up along with the audio for this one as well. Also, Sith, who does a great job of putting up our predictions on our Facebook page, he will have our predictions for WrestleMania Night 1 up prior to us going live on Twitch at 7:30. So make sure you keep an eye on that. And if you want to get in on the predictions, please leave a comment. Let us know who you're pulling for whatever matches and whatnot. We may make it into a contest. We may not. We'll see. But that's about all we got to start off the show. Let's just get right into it. But before we do that, of course, Mr. Referee, you know what to do. Right then, bell rings and here we go. And I heard it too, so I know that it works. Haha. Gotta love technology, right? All right, so got some news and notes for you guys here, and most of it is just has to do with AEW. As you know, AEW held its first ever house show in the history of its existence, because most of their shows have been either television tapings like Dynamite or pay-per-views, because they went by the model of, not having to really tour around and do house shows. They didn't really see the need for house shows. Well, they had their first ever house show on Friday night, The House Always Wins, which took place at Daly's Place. No TVs, no, wasn't taped. It was all in front of the live audience, so it was, again, a house show. Here are the results from said event that took place on Friday night, the first ever non-televised event for AEW in their nearly 2-year history. The Butcher was the winner of the Battle Royal to get a main event shot at the TNT Championship in Darby Allin. The Pinnacles, MJF, Shawn Spears, and FTR were able to defeat Christopher Daniels, Dante Martin, and Jurassic Express in an 8-man tag match. Cody Rhodes defeated Aaron Solo in a Duval street fight. But after the match, he was attacked by Anthony Ogogo. Anthony Ogogo is looking to make his in-ring debut this coming week, so I can't wait to see that. Jade Cargill had a 3-minute, 30-second squash over Rika Tahaka in her appearance there at the show. Trent Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy, best friends, defeated TH2 and Max Caster in a 6-man tag match. Eddie Kingston, his first action since his injury that he suffered a few weeks ago, defeated Cesaro Bononi. The AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida, along with Ty Conti, Red Velvet, and Ryo Mizunami, defeated the team of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, but the Bunny, Rebel, not Reba, and Nyla Rose in 6-woman tag team. Actually, it was 8 women. They said 6? It was 8 women. You also had in a 10-man tag match. You had Death Triangle. That was Pac, Penta El Zero Miedo, Rey Fenix, along with the Seidel brothers, Matt and Mike, defeat AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, the World Tag Champions, the Young Bucks, Michael Nakazawa, and Kenosuke Takashita. And in the main event, Darby Allin retained his TNT Championship, defeating the Butcher in the main event. So that was the results of the non-televised event that took place last night for Friday night for AEW. Sounded like it was some really good action. I wish that I could have been there. I would have loved to have seen it, but this is where we are. Right then. Also sticking with AEW, they've announced 4 main event caliber matches for this upcoming edition of AEW Dark Elevation. Those 4 matches that they have announced include Brandon Cutler being in action. He will go up against 1/3 of the Death Triangle, Penta El Zero M. Thunder Rosa will be in action. She will be taking on Diamante. The best friends with both Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander will be in action. They will be going up against the unlikely team of Ryan Nemeth and Cesar Bononi, who are expected to have JD Drake at ringside, and Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, the new team, going up against Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. And you can expect more matches to be announced in the coming days when it comes to this show. But those are being touted as four main events for this upcoming edition of AEW Dark Elevation, which airs every Monday at 7 p.m. on AEW's YouTube channel. So make sure you go check that out. And finally, some very not so good news when it comes to the effects that the move to Peacock are going to be having with WWE. And now a foreign language announced team is now no longer with the company due to the Peacock move. And that would be French announcers Jean Brassard and Ray Rougeau, who are no longer with the company. Brassard actually took to his Twitter this week to make the announcement that he and Rougeau were no longer with the company due to restructuring via Peacock and the WWE Network. His tweet said, and this was translated because he wrote it in French, it was translated to say, quote, "My heart is heavy having to share that due to restructuring via the Peacock Network, Raymond Rougeau and I are no longer commenting for WWE as of today. Thank you for all these wonderful years. I will continue to entertain you one way or another." As you know, the duo actually originally called WWE matches together as a French announced team from 1994 until 99 when their contracts went up. And then they were brought back in 2017 to call matches for a French announced team as part of a more expanded foreign language announcers group that they have for all of their pay-per-view events. But now it looks like these guys are no longer with the company. So very, very sad, very, very sad news indeed when it comes to, the effects of this move to Peacock. I'm sure a lot of people are liking the fact that it's now on Peacock, but unfortunately it's costed longtime members of this organization their jobs. So hopefully things work out for Rougeau and for Brassard going forward. And those are your news and notes for this week that I picked out for us to start off the show. So really quickly going into our New Japan recap. This past week, of course, on last week's show, I gave a quick preview of Sakura Genesis. And the show was really good, really, really good. I'll just go through it really quickly. Of course, in the opening match, Zack Sabre Jr., Taichi, and Doki were able to defeat the Gorillas of Destiny and Jado in the opener, 10 minutes and 10 seconds. In the second match, it was a 10-man, and Toru Yano was able to get the victory, pinning Dick Togo. That match lasted 11 minutes 37 seconds to get his victory for his Chaos Brethren over Bullet Club. In the third match, it was revealed that the newest member of the United Empire, was none other than the man formerly known as Toa Hanare, now going by the Ultimate Weapon, Aaron Hanare. He was able to get the pinfall victory over Sonata using a very devastating DVD known as the Streets of Rage to get the victory for the United Empire, who then, after the match, continued to attack LIJ in order to send a message that they are getting stronger and stronger. In the fourth match of the night, Hiroshi Tanahashi was able to pin Bad Luck Fale with the High Fly Foe to get the victory for he and Kojima over Fale and Jay White. Then after the match, he would attack. Jay White would try to attack, but he was locked into the Texas Clover hold or Texas Clover Leaf, and Jay White tapped out. And then Tanahashi got on the microphone and in very, very good English said, "I accept your challenge. You tapped out to my Texas Clover hold, also known as the JTO, the J Tap Out." So looks like in a future event, which I believe has now been announced as for Wrestling Dontaku, it will be Jay White versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the Never Openweight Championship. In the semifinal, in his first match back since tearing his ACL in June of last year, Yo, along with Sho, Roppongi 3K, dethroned the 64th Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, defeating Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Desperado to get the victory to become the 65th IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. This is their fifth reign as the tag champions in the junior division. Great little win there. And in the main event, in what was a thrilling 30-plus minute affair, Will Ospreay defeats Kota Ibushi and has become the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So a new reign has befallen New Japan Pro Wrestling, as the Commonwealth Kingpin is now the king of New Japan with the championship. So congratulations to Will Ospreay. After the match, Jeff Cobb would lay out Kota Ibushi with a tour of the islands, and then Will Ospreay would gloat, but then he would make a challenge. He actually made a challenge and said he wanted revenge for his loss at Wrestle Kingdom, and he called out Kazuchika Okada. Okada would come out to the ring, and before Okada could say one word, he was interrupted by Shingo Takagi. And Shingo would then make the challenge to Will Ospreay for his championship. Will Ospreay would think about it, and he would just simply say, "Shingo first," and then went in Okada's face and said, "And then I'm coming after you." So it's already been made official at Wrestling Dontaku that Shingo Takagi will challenge Will Ospreay for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then at one of the stadium shows, it will be Kazuchika Okada challenging whoever wins that match for the World Heavyweight Championship. So they're already got things planned well ahead going into May when it comes to that championship and everything going forward. So that's awesome stuff right there. But that was a fun show to watch. And then after that, this past Friday night, of course, is New Japan Strong. It is the New Japan Cup USA Tour and the tournament itself to determine who will be this year's New Japan Cup USA tournament winner and who would become the first New Japan Strong open weight champion. So here's who would advance in the tournament this week. Leo Rush advanced, defeating Clark Connors in just under 10 minutes. Filthy Tom Lawler choked out Ren Narita in 13 minutes and 19 seconds to move on. Fred Rosser fell to Hikuleo because of the Tongan Driller in 6 minutes 22 seconds. Hikuleo moves on, and Brody King, Big Bad Brody King, defeats Dirty Daddy Chris Dickinson to move on. So your semifinalists are now Leo Rush, Filthy Tom Lawler, Hikuleo, and Big Bad Brody King. The semifinals will take place next Friday, and then the finals will take place a week after that to determine who will become the first strong never openweight champion. And then, of course, today we had the beginning of the Road to Wrestling Dontaku 2021 taking place in Kanagawa. I believe they had 5 matches. Yeah, they had 5 matches, but it was highlighted by 2 elimination tag matches. You had Chaos, 4 members of Chaos, along with Hiroshi Tanahashi, going up against Bullet Club in the first elimination tag match, 10-man, in which Kenta was able to eliminate Yoshihashi last to get the final elimination and get the victory for Bullet Club. On the other side, there was an 8-man tag team elimination where it was all of LIJ, all the remaining healthy members of LIJ, Bushi Sanada, Tetsuya Naito, and Shingo Takagi against all of the United Empire, Cobb, Hinare, Great-O-Khan, and Will Ospreay. Takagi was able to get the final elimination, getting Will Ospreay's feet to touch the bottom, touch the floor out there. They both went over the top rope to get the victory and already get some momentum heading into their championship match coming up in about a month, in less than a month's time. So Takagi's already in the head of Will Ospreay, maybe, but that's how this tour has started, and we'll see how it goes moving forward, and we'll keep an eye on that as we always do here on the No Spots podcast whenever we do a recap of New Japan. So that's your lot for when it comes to New Japan. Remember, next week we'll have the results of the semifinals of the New Japan Cup USA tournament, as well as some key news when it comes to the Road to Wrestling Dontaku tour as well. So let's bring it back in, because it's now time to talk about what has happened one of the big events that happened this week in wrestling in the Wrestlemania week, and that is NXT Stand and Deliver. And I'm going to tell you just right off the bat, before we even get into a recap, this takeover did stand and deliver. It really did, and I had fun watching it. I did watch night 1 like I normally would with the Wednesday night version of. I watched it the next day. The night 2 I did watch live. I will admit that, because it's Thursday night. There's no other wrestling on, so I said, okay, I'll watch it, and I watched it live, and I enjoyed it. Of course, Sith does what he does, which is he'll watch it live, and then he'll rewatch it, so that way he has a good perspective of how he felt about certain bits and certain things about it. So, let's talk about Stand and Deliver, and let's start, of course, with night 1. Night 1 was I think, arguably, night 1 was probably just a hair better than night 2. And that's not saying much, because night 2 was great too. But I felt like night 1 just had so much more to it. So let's talk about it, shall we? All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Pete Dunne versus Kushida in what was a masterclass of technical wrestling. Those two guys absolutely just brought it to each other when it came to technical wrestling and striking and just everything that you could ask for from a wrestling match, where the tagline is who's the better technical wrestler. And in the end, it was Pete Dunne who got the victory. He was able to use his joint manipulation and stomping on fingers and such to get the victory. And he stood tall in this one after the bitter end. So this was the way you opened the show, was with this one. After you had, of course, Zoe Stark and Toni Storm in the pre-show, this is how you open the show. 10 minutes and 39 seconds of pure wrestling. Seth, what did you think about this opening match for night 1 of Stand and Deliver?
Even on the rewatch, what do you mean 10 minutes and 39 seconds? It seemed like 8 minutes tops. But what that means, ladies and gents, is there's a lot of action in the match, several spots where you aren't wondering about the match time at all, which is a good thing. Really awesome spots and submission attempts, but the Bruiserweight wins it in this tough contrast between British strong style, Japanese strong styles. My grade remained very steady. It was a solid A minus to begin with because that was my preliminary grade, but it was slowly knocking on the door of an A, but not quite there yet. Champ.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I like I said, it's definitely ticked some boxes for me when it came to just the opening contest, but it wasn't enough to say, oh, it's going to bring my grade up because I started the night off with a preliminary grade of a B plus, I should say, and it didn't tick it up to an A minus, but it almost did. It almost did. But I appreciate it for what it was, which was a really, really good match that I was expecting from these two. So let's move on and let's talk about the next match, which was a six-man gauntlet eliminator match where the winner gets a shot at the North American Championship the next night. You had Leon Ruff, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, and L.A. Knight. Now, I watched it on USA Network, so basically, when we came back from commercial, Swerve and Leon were already in the ring fighting. But I'm assuming that on Peacock, there was really no commercial interruptions, so they got their entrances and stuff like that. Because I was literally going to be on here raging about people getting jobber entrances until I realized, wait, on Peacock, they didn't get jobber entrances, so that's USA's fault. So I can't rage about that. So I said, okay, I'm going to stand down. But they were already in the ring fighting, and I was confused. I said, "Wait, why are they all? This is supposed to be a big show. Why are we getting jobber entrances and shit like this on a big show?" But then, again, days later, I realized, wait, this was also on Peacock. So I'm pretty sure the folks on Peacock, they were able to get the full scope of everything. I mean, Sith, am I right? Am I accurate in that?
You're very accurate. I watched it on Peacock both times, and there were not jobber entrances for anyone involved in
Okay.
this match.
Okay.
Now,
Cool.
you and I were both worried about this match.
Yeah, I mean, but you had Leon Ruff and you had Isaiah Scott start. Bronson Reed was next out. Then you
Mm-hmm.
had Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis and L.A. Knight. Very surprised that L.A. Knight had gotten eliminated so early. Like that surprised me how early he got eliminated. Like literally, he was the last one in. Got to talk, got some moves off, and all of a sudden he was gone. And I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That was very surprising. My pick of who I wanted to win, which was Dexter Lumis, was also eliminated out of nowhere, which kind of caught me by surprise.
Same.
I wasn't mad at Bronson Reed winning. I was not mad at that. I think what surprised me again was, of course, Leon Ruff was the first eliminated, which wasn't a surprise there. No disrespect to the guy, but you kind of figured he would be the first to be gone. But like I said, I did not expect LA Knight to be the second one gone. I believe he was the second one that was eliminated, and that shocked me because I was like, wait, huh? How does that? How does what? So that kind of threw me by surprise. And then Loomis was, I think, the third one to go. He was the third one to go, and then no, he was. I think it was the third or the fourth one to go. No, he was third because then it was Cameron Grimes and Swerve Scott left with Bronson Reed, and then and then Swerve was able to eliminate Grimes, and then Tsunami by Reed was able to get the victory over Swerve.
No,
This wasn't a bad match.
LA Knight eliminated Bronson Reed first. I mean, not Bronson Reed, Dexter Lumis.
Okay, okay, so it was Leon Ruff, Dexter Loomis, then L.A. Knight,
Mm-hmm.
then Cameron Grimes, and then Isaiah Squirt Scott.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that L.A. Knight was not the last eliminated.
Yeah.
He was not going to win that. I would have wanted him to have been the one to get Tsunami by Bronson Reed because remember the story that they had. That would have made a lot more sense. But this wasn't a bad match. This wasn't
No.
a bad match. But again, this was another match where it didn't do enough to move the grade up, but it did enough to keep the grade where it is. And I feel like even though my pick didn't win, the right man won, in my opinion. What do you think, Seth?
Fully agree with you on everything you said because it was strategically placed where they could get it done and it wouldn't hopefully affect the grade in a poor light. Some people would probably say that their grade went up or down. Mine did not. Mine stayed at a solid A minus here, even after this match, even after the rewatch, and it it worked. On the rewatch, it worked. It wasn't like amazing, where your grade goes up, but it wasn't underwhelming where the grade drops. So all in all, I enjoyed it. And yeah, Bronson Reed was the right guy to win, even though I said Dexter Lumis. Matter of fact, I started the night 0-3, and I'm here going, okay, I need a miracle. I don't want to go 0-6.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good for you there, pal. It wasn't looking
And I
good
had
for
to
you,
keep my cool
pal.
because we were watching it on DVR the next day, and I'm watching it live on Peacock.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to what I think was, I mean, arguably this could have been this almost could have been match of the night. It wasn't quite for me, but it still was so awesome. And that was Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT United Kingdom Championship. Walter was able to get the victory after almost 17 minutes, where it was a lot of working on each other's limbs. They played a nice little story of, everybody knows Walter's right hand is deadly with the chop. So what do you do to be able to neutralize him? Beat up his right hand. He kept trying to hit him with left-handed chops, and the announcers played that up like they don't have the same pop as the right hand, and he still was able to pop him with one good one from the right, and that was the way to get the victory. It was just what you expect. It was a hard-hitting match between two hard-headed ass dudes, and the right result was made, which was Walter retaining the championship and retaining it literally on the day that he won it 2 years ago. 2 years to the day when he won that championship in Brooklyn. He's defending it again, and his reign continues at 700 plus days. Seth, what did you think about this matchup here?
There are two matches from these two nights that I have gone back, no, three actually, that I've gone back and rewatched several times since Stand and Deliver aired. This is one of them. We went from 6-man Gauntlet to a match that could be a top 5 of the year contender. This is how fucking amazing this match was. And even on the rewatches, my jaw's on the floor the entire time. My grade went up to a solid A here, as the match flat out delivered. And it's one that I'm sure that I'm just going to keep going back to throughout the year. Champ.
Yeah, this is definitely one. It seems like a lot of these Volter matches, especially this past year, especially as one with Dragunov and then this one, are just matches where you're like, I'm gonna go back and watch this again and again and again. And this is another one of those, like you're gonna go back and watch it again, and you're gonna enjoy it just the same each time you watch it. I had a fun watching this. This definitely raised my grade up to an A minus at this point. I knew what it was going to be, and I got exactly what I wanted. Plus, great storytelling. I can't ask for anything more than that, and that's what I expected, and that's what I got, and I enjoyed it. So let's move on to what would be the penultimate match of the night, the semifinal of the night for the vacant NXT Tag Team Championships. MSK, the Grizzled Young Veterans, and Legado del Fantasma. And again, because I was watching on USA, MSK had the jobber entrance. And I got mad. I said, wait, especially after the result, I said, wait, how does that result happen when they got jobber entrances? But then again, I had to remember, on Peacock, they got their entrance, and I wasn't watching on Peacock. So there you go. Um, this is another match that I enjoyed, and this is another match that ticked the grade up a bit, just because of all the action, triple threats. So you had to keep your head on a swivel to see what was going to happen. The ending sequence where it was the two teams who went at it for the Dusty Cup Classic final for the Dusty Cup, going at it in the final stage of the match, no legato involved in there. I think that was poetic justice, and I think that's another story that's going to be told of can GYV actually win the big one. 2 years in a row, they lost in the finals of the Dusty Cup, and now here on a big takeover for the Tag Team Championship, they're the ones that fall in defeat in this matchup with MSK using a beautiful tandem finishing maneuver to win the Tag Team Championships and realize their dream. And Sith, I'm gonna get your thoughts, and then I'm gonna give you a little bit of a funny take that I have when it comes to this. Go ahead, sir.
Here's a really cool caveat here, and Champ may have noticed this as well. Santos Escobar was not at ringside during this match. That really helped boost up things a bit because, a lot of people know that when Legado del Fantasma, when they're in a match, usually the whole faction gets involved somehow. So, no, Santos stood aside. He was not at ringside during this match. Really helped boost up the quality of the match-wise. You had 3 awesome teams dueling it out. MSK, the awesome story continues. Leaving the Rascals from Impact, coming into the Dusty Cup, winning the Dusty Cup, and now they are your new NXT Tag Team Champions. Really want to know what they do with grizzled young veterans, but also, and here's the caveat here, Lorcan and Birch, when they're back from the injury that's had with, I believe it's Lorcan that's injured, but how will that play out as well? So you have some really intriguing storylines coming out of this match. And between this match elevated the grade to where the A was teetering on an A+, but we're not there yet. Champ.
It's Danny Burch that's the one that's injured right now.
Cool.
Lorcan is healthy, but Burch is the one that suffered the separated children, is why he's out for an extended period of time. So I have a very funny take on this. I feel like this win, this tag team title win, was WWE's way of saying, "Hey, Impact, this is how you book a tag team. Take that." Because the main thing that people said when MSK made the jump from Impact to WWE was they weren't getting booked correctly in Impact and things like that, which that's arguable. That's very arguable. I mean, they would look like they were having fun, but I know that Trey Miguel explained it on the on Taylor Wilde's podcast that they have families, so they needed the big money to be able to take care of the families. That's why he didn't make the jump, because it's just him. But I just feel like this was poetic justice for this team because of the fact that, hey, they had their fun in Impact, but they were never Impact World Tag Team Champions. Now they're here in NXT. They've barely been in NXT a year, and they're already Dusty Cup Classic winners and Tag Team Champions, all within I don't even think it's been 6 freaking months, and here they are. So how about that? That's why I think it's a funny little shot there that I feel is there, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Hector, what's going on? How are you? Let's talk about this main event, though. And what was obviously the shock of the night. Oh, by the way, that triple threat moved my grade up to an A at this point. The shock of the night. Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez, NXT Women's Championship. All kind of action, all kind of no shenanigans, just a lot of action. Dakota Kai did try to get involved, and the referee said, "Nah, not gonna happen. You're out of here." So we would have no more shenanigans and whatnot. So they got after it. They got after it. You even had the spot where Io was on the top of the skull and just came flying down on Raquel Gonzalez. And you really thought this was it. It was about to be over. Io's going to retain. Her reign's going to be in exactly an entire year, 365 days. Who's going to challenge her next? Until it wasn't. And Raquel managed to get going, and boom. Next thing you know, we have a new champion. Rugby, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in. I met Rugby. I actually met Rugby in Kip Sabian's Twitch stream, and actually Kip is actually streaming right now, actually. So this is kind of awkward, but anyway. But thank you, Rugby, for tuning in really quickly. Appreciate you stopping in. If you want Rugby, we will be doing a live stream reactions watch along of WrestleMania later on. If you want to have your Peacock on or watch along with us, it'll always be like we're all sitting together. It'll be about 7:30 our time, which is 12:30 your time over in the UK. So if you want to check that out, we'll be on live later. But my goodness, Raquel Gonzalez is the new NXT Women's Champion. Seth, what did you think?
And who called that? This guy. Anyway, I got a major question though. Why can't we get women's matches like this on the fucking main roster? This was just fucking amazing, and again proves the point where you can have a takeover and a main card on the same weekend, or in this case, some matches show how solid NXT is and how poorly built the main roster is at times. Kudos to Io Shirai for having an incredible reign. Kudos to Raquel Gonzalez for getting the W. And my final grade will be revealed for night one momentarily. Jam.
Right. So this only raised my grade just not really to A plus territory, but a high A at this point. This was excellent. The result was just so surprising because you thought even after she kicked out of the over the moonsault, you figured no, there's no way she'll kick out of it again if she hits it. The next thing you know, she doesn't hit it again. She gets hit with that power bomb and she's done. And it was just the shock and awe of it. It was like, wait, what? But it was a good shock and awe because it was like, okay, Io, I would love to see Io hit the 1 year mark because I think only Asuka and maybe Shayna have been champions for over a year, I think. So I wanted to see her be the third, but I'm not mad at Gonzalez doing it because they've been building Gonzalez up to be a monster ever since she won the War Games match for Team Candice. Ever since then, she was built to be a monster. They kind of sidetracked her on that push, but then finally put her back on track against Io, and now look what we have. We have a new women's champion. And because of that, my overall grade for night one of Stand and Deliver was an A. It did stand and deliver night one. You had that shock win in the main event. You had the feel-good win, the tag team titles for MSK. You had Bronson Reed get the victory in the Eliminator, the Gauntlet Eliminator. You saw Walter and Tommaso Ciampa beat the absolute shit out of each other. And you saw a good technically sound opening match between Pete Dunne and Kushida. So this was an A all the way around for me. What about you, Seth?
A, but teetering on that A plus. It barely misses A plus going into night two. And I mean barely. I mean, it's just certain little glitches. People could accuse me of nitpicking, but still, a solid A teetering on an A plus is not bad at all.
Yeah. A couple comments here from Hector, who's joining us from the Facebook feed. What's going on, Hector? Overall, my match of night one has to be Shirai versus Gonzalez. And for night two, which we're about to get into, Balor Cross in the unsanctioned match. And I'm watching y'all at work since it's dead right now. Please don't get in trouble, Hector. Please don't get in trouble. Let's see. And then Hector's rubbing it in that he told me that Gonzalez was going to win. Yeah, I got you. I was having problems during TakeOver. What about you guys? Sector, I watched it night one on the USA Network on DVR, so I didn't have any problems. I don't know, Seth, did you have any problems with either night?
The only problem I had was the lead into the kickoff was a little behind. I was like 30 seconds behind, if you will, delay wise, but that's pretty typical of Peacock. So, I think everything will work out.
Right. Yeah, like I said, when I watched Night 2 on Peacock, I didn't have any real issues. It did buffer quite a few times, but I kind of attributed that to my shitty Wi-Fi. So that's all that was. But all right, so let's move on to Night 2. And here's the funny thing. Back to Night 1 though. You see how much my grade went up two grade levels from a B plus to an A because of the action on Night 1. Night 2, I expected it to be an A because you have that unsanctioned match between Cole and O'Reilly, which turned out to be the main event. You had the women's tag team title match. You had the North American title match. You had the cruiserweight title ladder match, and you had the NXT championship match. So let's get into it, shall we? We would also have on Night 2 a pre-show match. You would have Drake Maverick and Killian Dane defeat Breezango to earn a number one contenders to earn the number one contendership for the NXT Tag Team Championships and MSK, which was a really pretty good match too. I enjoyed watching it. It was really good. But then we would open the night up with the ladder match. We opened up with the NXT Cruiserweight Championship ladder match to determine who would be the undisputed winner, the undisputed champion. And this was an incredible opening match, dude. Like, this was incredible, incredible, incredible. And what made it even so much more unique was the fact that despite both of them being heels, Escobar was getting more face reaction than heel reaction. They were chanting for him, they were popping for him when he did something big. All that stuff happened for him, and he was supposed to be the heel. They're both heels, but he was more the face in this one. So many great spots in this one. All the dives, that hellacious moonsault that Devlin hit on Escobar looked like he killed him. Just all kind of carnage. Even Legado del Fantasma getting involved, and I like how Devlin was able to save himself and fall out the ring the way that he was able to do, and still keep himself healthy and stuff like that. That was absolutely incredible. That just shows you the type of guy and type of worker that he is. In the end, it was a headbutt off the ladder. It was a headbutt off the ladder into another ladder perched in the corner that broke, and Santos Escobar walks away the undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Seth, how did you feel about this opening match?
Jaw dropping. And people are going to call me a mark. Go ahead, get it out of your system. You can see in the comments, Seth is a mark. He loves the ladder match. Okay, I fucking enjoyed it. It told a great story. Santo Escobar can buy as a tweener because, he's never going to be a full baby face. So I considered him to be a tweener. I just said that in the chat, in our little Facebook chat. Devlin was great. And honestly, it was a solid way to open. And you can't help but to feel proud of the fact that Santos Escobar handed one of those titles to his 9-year-old son at the end on stage. That really, really was awesome. He's, his son, very proud of his dad, proud father. Why not? Good shit.
Yeah, that part right there was what I came into the group chat and was like, "Are they turning Santos face?" Because that was the most baby face ass thing to do, is to be up on the ramp, your son there, you're all smiling, you give him one of the belts, you're like, yeah, you got your boys there with you. And I'm like, wait, they can't be turning my man face now, dude. They can't do that. Not after he's become the undisputed cruiserweight champion and has been getting his shit off every chance he gets. Like, they can't turn him face now. So we'll see. Maybe he might be a tweener. Who knows? Or they may pipe in the booze and some more so that people know he's not a good guy. He's a bad guy. I don't know. Either way, this match right here was amazing. It was amazing, and it kept the grade at an A not because of anything bad, because I was like, well, let's see what everybody else can do after this, because that's the one thing about having a startup match like that is that everyone after you has to follow that, and they have to follow it very much, very very well. Otherwise, it's gonna fall flat. So let's talk about what happened. And I gotta address Hector's comment about the pre-show match on night 2 being a throwaway match. I didn't think it was a throwaway match. You just crown new tag team champions and you don't wait to try to figure out who's going to be their next contenders. You figure it out the very next night. And that was a good move. It was a throwaway match. Now you know who MSK is going to face next. And that's going to be an entertaining little series if they do it as a series, or like with promos and stuff like that. Because you got very highly entertaining MSK, and then you have this unique tag team of Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. Those promos are gonna be fucking entertaining as fuck. So I like this one. Granted, if it was Breezango, I think that would have been just as entertaining as well because of how entertaining Breezango is. But I'm gonna like this. I'm gonna like this at very much so. But again, congrats to Santos Escobar, now the undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Hector was proud about that victory, being where he's from. And also, I would have lost my mind if Phantasma Santos' father showed up, and that kid was the same one who threatened to kill La Parka in WCW after his dad lost his match at Triple Mania 26. See, Hector be giving some knowledge there. That's dope. Next, Women's Tag Team Championship match, The Way versus TCB. TCB got the victory. I like how this match went. TCB got jumped at the start. Shotzi Blackheart took a hell of an ass whooping from The Way. Then gets the hot tag to Ember. Ember's going crazy. It was a lot of good stuff going on. I literally yelled out, "Oh fuck!" when Shotzi did that dive outside, and damn, it looked like she almost hit her head on the thing. I was like, "Oh fuck!" And mind you, I'm sitting outside smoking a cigar, so I'm outside, and all you probably hear me yell is, "Oh fuck!" When she hit that dive, I said, "Yo, Shotzi, are you okay?" But luckily, she was okay. In the end, it was the double eclipse, and then the Shotzi senton off the top, and the TCB takes care of business and retains, just like I picked, they would retain. Sith, how did you feel about the second title defense for TCB?
Whoa, solid. And again, why can't we get these types of matches on the main roster? And instead we're subjected to teams that are either can't stand each other or just thrown together like a fucking odd couple. This highlights a strength with NXT creative and writing wise that's lacking on the main roster. This was a really solid match. I don't think The Way are giving up their dreams of gold anytime soon, as I think there's more to this story to unpackage, to unfold before it ends. But I got to tell you, just an awesome, awesome match.
Agreed. I'm not gonna. There's not more I can add to that except for the fact that yeah, it was awesome. I think, like I said, the dive that Shotzi did was ooh man, that scared the living crap out of me when she did it. But luckily, she was okay. She was able to finish the match and looked like she didn't come out with any kind of injuries or anything like that. She's probably was sore as fuck after that. But either way, they were able to take care of business and retain their championships. Awesome job by TCB to get the title defense. Next, we would have Bronson Reed and Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship. In what was it was a fair match. It was a fair match to call this one. I like the whole, Johnny being Johnny Wrestling, picking a body part, which in this case was the midsection, the ribs of Bronson Reed, and going after them. Bronson Reed showing off his strength and his power. You only had minimal interference from Austin Theory towards the end, but for the most part, it was one-on-one. Then when Austin Theory got taken out, it stayed one-on-one. I like the fact that Johnny Gargano did two of his finishing maneuvers of the one final beat instead of the one, to really show that Bronson Reed is a tough son of a bitch. And that's how he was able to get the victory, was to be able to hit him with the one final beat, not once but twice, to retain the North American Championship. Now, both me and Sith both had picked to be determined in this spot. We really thought that whoever came out of the Eliminator was going to become North American champion. But I'm not mad that it was Johnny Gargano that retained, because he's Johnny Takeover. They broken the curse of him not being able to defend championships, and now he's defended it yet again against an opponent he only knew about 24 hours in advance, who was a big beefy boy. But he went out, wrestled so well, and this is the result that we got. Was Johnny Gargano went over 16 minutes and had a great match with Bronson Reed. Sith?
Yeah, hard hitting. And I'm very thankful, and folks, please don't take this the wrong way, that Austin Theory only slightly got in the way. He nowhere near as bad as you would expect with a faction being involved in a match, and usually faction members are deeply involved in a match. Austin got involved, but it was nowhere near as much as he could have. So that really helped the match. Gargano was on point, and again proved why he's Johnny Takeover. Bronson Reed, looking at how he was, you could tell that he wrestled the night before, but he still showed it. He still came out and they put themselves over, which is a good thing. Bronson had to, Johnny made you believe that Bronson could possibly win this match. Bronson sold Johnny as well. All in all, it was a solid lead-in to the next match, but it was like a slight step down as far as intensity goes compared to what follows. So it was a nice little ending up an appetizer before you get to the big pig shit that's about to come.
Yeah, I will say this. At this point, my grade's still at an A. It was at a high A because of the ladder match, and then the women's tag match, and the women's tag match didn't drop it or raise it, and then this match didn't drop it or raise it. It's still at a high A, but it still was very solid. Hector is asking, what did we think of the intangibles that were on the tail of the tape for every wrestler? It was different. It was different. I really didn't get a chance to really look at them because they were on the screen, and then it was almost like the screen was they were gone. So I didn't really get a chance to look at them. But something different to add to the show and everything like that. To have those type of things, because gives it a more realistic feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Gives it a more realistic feel. So maybe they should keep that. They should keep it.
They should. It adds a nice touch to these pay-per-views, whether it's Takeover, whether it's WrestleMania, whatever. To have kind of like a tail of the tape, if you will. Adds a little more realistic thing. For those of us who like boxing, this guy here, it adds a little bit of realism to it, because you're used to seeing a tail of the tape before a fight. Well, here we go with during Takeover tail of the tape, which I thought was pretty cool.
Right. Hector, by the way, I know you're watching on Facebook. You should jump on the Twitch, because we're going to raid Mariah after this. She just went live not too long ago, so I figured she would. So after this, we're going to raid her. So jump on the Twitch so we can jump in and raid Mariah and give her shit. Anyway.
Hey,
Right. So let's move to what was the best part of night 2, and that was these two matches right here. First, we would have for the NXT Championship, good old Finn Balor against Karrion Kross in what was a hell of a match. I love how it started, the psychology that Finn had. He was like, look, you can get all frustrated and flustered. I'm just gonna keep being me and keeping my emotions in check, and I'm gonna end up winning in this and the third. I love the beginning. Everything about this match was really, really good, and the finish was really, really good, because it just shows you that Karrion Kross is just a killer. He's an absolute killer. That's why he was known as Killer Kross on the Indies. God damn it! And The right man won. I picked Karrion Kross to win this because I felt like this was his time. He was supposed to have a good run with that championship before when he beat Keith Lee last year. Unfortunately, he had suffered a very severely separated shoulder during the match and had to relinquish the championship. So now he's back and he's back. He's healthy. He came out of the event healthy, and now he gets an opportunity to run with the NXT Championship again after Finn had a really good run in what was his second reign as champion, and now Karrion Kross adds his name to the list of men who have won the NXT Championship multiple times. Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, and now Karrion Kross all have won the NXT Championship on multiple occasions. Sith, what did you think about this banger of a semifinal?
Whoa, man. The end is near. Okay, let me stop. This was an amazing match from start to finish, and it's also the last sanctioned match, air quotes there, of the two nights. Solid match. It told a great story. You had the defending two-time champion, Finn Balor, and you have the story of Karrion Kross, who had to relinquish due to a severe separated shoulder injury. You have both stories meshing, and it was mesmerizing. Okay, you throw it all into a blender and just amazing. Okay, all in all, definitely a great match. It's one of those matches that I have revisited since the initial rewatch, and possibly top 5. Not sure yet for the end of the year, but we shall see. But this grade bumped it up to an A+ finally.
Absolutely the same here. This has definitely gotten us up to an A+, and we're not even factoring in the main event. But this definitely got us up to an A+ at this point. This is the best we've seen, and I mean, goodness gracious, what else can you say? It was just everything about this match was what you expected and would want. Just like what I wanted and expected from Kushida and Pete Dunne. I got everything I wanted. How else can I be? What else can I be mad about? So yeah, that's where we are, and we get ready to talk about the main event. What was Cross wearing on Thursday? It looked like some Highlander type shit. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Anybody noticed the parallel that they both had to relinquish the belt due to injury? Yeah, I noticed that they did bring that up during the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
It was brought up that they both had to relinquish championships due to injury. Yep. Finn had to relinquish the Universal Championship when he became the first to win it because of an injury, and then Cross the NXT Championship. So that was a good parallel that they drew upon. That was good. I like that parallel. Right. Let's talk about that unsanctioned match, shall we? Whoo, baby. And let me tell you something. Oh, my goodness. Let me tell you something. This match right here was not only absolutely brutal, absolutely violent, and a match that I absolutely love, but it is the subject of our first stat of the day. Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Here comes the stat of the day! This match was the longest match of the 2 nights of Stand and Deliver, logging in at a match time of 40 minutes and 19 seconds, making it the longest match of the 2 nights of Stand and Deliver, with the second longest being the 6-man Gauntlet Eliminator from night 1 that went in at 23 minutes and 14 seconds. So almost 17 minutes longer than a multi-man match. That is insane, and that is your stat of the day. Jeez. Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Here comes the stat of the day! I mean, Sith, what do you got to say about this match?
Mind blown. Okay. Man, I didn't want this match to end, to be honest with you. I mean, champ saying 40, 41 minutes, it didn't feel that way. Even on the rewatches, it hasn't felt that way. Got to give props to both Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. They put on one hell of a clinic. They did. And you have to be asking yourself something, and something I asked Champ, I'm going to ask all of you. Was this Adam Cole's last match in NXT? Is he about to get the call up as he's done it all in NXT? Or is the stretcher more to say that he's got more stories to tell in NXT? Now, we know that Kyle O'Reilly has his eye on Karrion Kross, but this match could very well be revisited come January when Champ and I do our top 5 matches of 2021. This is how amazing this match was. If you haven't seen it yet, I advise you to go ahead and just watch it. You will not be upset. You will be amazed. You will be shocked at what could happen here. Champ.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much that I can say about this that hasn't there's only so much I can say that hasn't already been said about what this match was, the emotions, the story behind it. Hell, the video package for it just gave you goosebumps. Even before the match started, I think the one gripe I've seen online was the fact that the UE music is gone forever. No more boom. The boom don't hit the same. The Adam Cole baby don't hit the same. Both men had new music, and it just felt weird. But once the match got started, that was automatically forgotten when they went at it. And I mean, just some of the spots that these guys did. Oh man, you got to take your hat off to them for going through something like that. Especially the spot on the rampway. Like my goodness, that was not good. Ooh, I bet that hurt a whole hell of a lot. Even today, it probably still hurts for them. But just incredible, and this is what cemented NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver Night 2 to be an A+ for me. Which is funny because I said earlier that I thought Night 1 was a hair better than Night 2. But I guess I might be a little bit mistaken remembering that Night 2 had what it had. And so Night 2 was definitely the better night, grade-wise. So it was an A+. And Sith, how did you feel about A+?
A+ with a bullet. I mean, holy fuck. Anyone who says that these two matches dropped their grade, I'll be respectful towards y'all, but I want to know your reasoning. Okay, I'm sure Champ would too, because we welcome all opinions here. We do. But solid A+, and overall, it's a very high A teetering on an A+. Not quite ready to give it an A+ overall because of the slight bumps in the road in Night 1 that kept it from being an A+, but a very, very strong A showing for both nights, though.
This definitely gets a high A for me, close to an A+ as well. And I mean, just solid. And I remember seeing a comment from out of the Started 5 podcast page that said that before Takeover happens, I watch Takeover be better than WrestleMania, and so far it looks like it is. I mean, it's damn near an A+ for both nights when you combine both nights. Just an incredible way to really get the week going, especially after the Hall of Fame ceremony where you had the inductions of both the 2020 and 2021 class. A very, very not so good Raw. So this was a great way to get the WrestleMania week kick-started up again. And then of course you have NXT UK Prelude, which we'll have the report on that later on. And Smackdown, and now we're getting ready for WrestleMania. And speaking of WrestleMania, as Hector's chiming in, kind of looked like he died when he came out of the side of the ring. I'm pretty sure he died. And he said A with a bunch of pluses because holy hell, that Cole O'Reilly match made it skyrocket. You on to something there, but listen, I would definitely go back and watch NXT Stand and Deliver both nights again You know, if I want something to watch, I would go back and watch it and things like that. But let's talk about WrestleMania. That's right, WrestleMania 37. And just as a reminder, if you're watching us outside of Twitch, you can come in and watch along with us this evening, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 12:30 a.m. in the UK, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and 4:30 p.m. West Coast Time, to come in and join us to watch along for WrestleMania 37 Night 1 live reactions. Just to give you if you're looking for a place to watch it for free, it won't be here. We will not be actually showing the event. We'll just be sitting here watching it on our TVs or our screens and reacting to it as if you're sitting right next to us. You can come in, have on your Peacock, and be watching with us. But again, that'll start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, exclusively on Twitch. And then afterwards, when we're done, if you're still part of the Twitch, it's still with us on the Twitch after the reactions. I plan to go and raid Impact Wrestling star Jessica Havoc, who is currently doing a 24-hour stream. I've been a part of it. I was on it a little bit earlier on. She was showing some of her old wrestling matches and some of her, some actions she's had where she tagged up with Sami Callihan, who is her life partner, I should say, as well as matches she had. See, Sith. I know we're sidetracking here a little bit, but you would have liked to have been on her stream because she actually showed she had a match on the Indies with your boo thing, your crush, Su Yung, the Su Yung, not Susan, not Susie, Su Yung.
And just wait till we get to Impact, folks. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
Yeah.
But she had a match that she had with Su Yung that she showed on her stream, which was awesome, by the way. Su Yung, I said it in the chat. I said, yeah, my podcast co-host is obsessed with Su Yung, by the way. Just to put that out there. Hey, Hector, he did, didn't he? He did, didn't he? He lit up as soon as I said Su Yung. He was just like, ding! Right. Okay, so let's talk about WrestleMania. 2 nights. They're doing this whole 2-night thing. This 2-night thing seems to be a thing, but you know what? That's cool because guess what? That means that we won't have to be sitting here for 5 hours reacting to an event.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, this will go maybe 3 hours one night and then 3 hours the other night. There are only 7 matches for night 1. And I believe 7 matches for night 2. So it's 14 matches total. Imagine that being done in one day. Fuck me.
That's 4.5 hours. Way longer than that, depending on how they book it. Oh, Jesus.
No, that's about 5 hours, dude. Like, 15 matches, that's about 5 hours. Fuck off. And that was the biggest complaint that a lot of people had with WrestleMania's past before last year when they went to 2 nights was that fucking hell. You're fitting double-digit matches into one night where it's going into like 11, 12 o'clock at night on the East Coast. People are tired, and then most people probably got tickets to go to fucking, they got to go to fucking, they're going to Raw the next night and everything like that. So, yeah. And then, of course, our folks overseas, it's like by 12 o'clock, it's already like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning for them. It's like, fucking hell. So, let's talk about night.
Cheesy and, the guys over at What Culture. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about WrestleMania Night 1, which should be a very interesting night. Because they've already announced that they're opening night 1 with the WWE Championship match. Drew McIntyre challenging Bobby Lashley for the championship. Sith, how do you feel about the decision that they're opening the show with the WWE Championship?
I like this because even though they're having some issues getting fans into the show itself, you want to start off WrestleMania back in business with the fans, with a show that's going to blow the roof off. And they put this match together so Drew could have his moment in front of a paying audience because he didn't have it last year because of the global bastard. So I like this move.
I agree. I think this is a fantastic move to open up the show with this because there was a lot of talk about what are they going to do in terms of like because this is the first show in over a year where they're going to actually have a paying audience in front of like that are going to be there to watch them live. They haven't had a paying audience at a show for over a year since March
Mm-hmm.
before the world was set on fire. So they wanted to make sure that the first person that came out would get that big pop. And Hector's saying it's pretty sad that the oldest title in the company is starting the biggest event of the year. But I mean, again, big moment, big, and you're gonna have 25,000 people there. You want that energy to be up immediately. And Twitch chiming in, my man Twitch Gray saying they're trying to get Drew that big pop, which Sith just said. So I like the move, and I think the obvious pick here is Drew's gonna win. Though I wouldn't be surprised if they pull the swerve on us and they keep it on Lashley, especially given the traction that Lashley has gotten since becoming the champion, the almighty WWE champion, the entrance and everything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept him as champion for at least another month. And then maybe if they do like Backlash in front of a crowd, then they have the big moment. But I think this is going to be Drew's moment here, and I think Drew becomes the WWE champion for the third time. Sith, what do you think?
The one major thing I can't stand with WWE the most is placeholder champions. Placeholder meaning that within 6 weeks, 6 to 10 weeks of winning a championship, person drops the title. But the only thing I can't is squashing a champion, which I hope does not happen here. Now, the Hurt Business is no more. They split up 2 weeks ago. So Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, they're not even mentioned anymore, saying they're banned from ringside because Hurt Business is not banned from ringside. They broke up. Creative wanted Drew to get his moment, and I get it. And it does happen, as I don't think Lashley deserves to be treated with placeholder after 16 years in the business, but it is what it is. Drew McIntyre is your winner, and now, third time, WWE champion.
Right. So yeah, I feel like this is the time they wanted this to be his moment last year after the big pop he got at Royal Rumble when he won the Rumble, that he was going to get the big pop, he's going to beat Brock Lesnar, it's going to be amazing. And then a certain disease said, fuck all that shit, it's not happening. And he ended up having to have his moment with nobody there but a bunch of cameramen and producers. So yeah, I think this is where it's going to happen. He's going to have 25,000 people going absolutely nuts for it. Maybe. We don't know, because see, again, unlike in the Thunderdome where they can do the pipe-in noises to manipulate the crowd, you have 25,000 people there. That's enough people to make noise in an arena, in a stadium like that, and be heard. So we don't know if Drew winning the championship will get that big moment that he's looking for. We'll have to wait and see, right? Big Daddy Drew McIntyre, as Ross Trudell calls him, is winning the championship. That's right, Big Daddy Drew McIntyre. Yeah, going with Drew on this one. Next, Bad Bunny and Damien Priest versus Miz and Morrison. Can you imagine that could you imagine if this was the first match? How disappointing would that be? No disrespect to Damien Priest, no disrespect to anybody in this match, but how disappointing would it have been if the first match in front of a live crowd was this shit? Like, come on, guys. That's why I'm glad the WWE Championship match is first. Because of the story behind it, this is why I'm glad. Right. So, I'm picking Bad Bunny and Damian Priest on this one. Miz and Morrison don't really need the victory. Plus, Bad Bunny is being said that, it's being said that he's actually in this to wrestle. He's not here for the paycheck because he's a celeb and everything like that. He's in the PC putting in the work to actually wrestle. He's getting physical he's doing what he needs to do to be prepared for this matchup. Plus, he has Damian Priest, who has yet to lose since coming up on the main roster, and I just don't see Damian Priest losing yet on the main roster, especially not the Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison are just in a position right now where a win or a loss, it doesn't matter. It won't do anything for them. So, Bad Bunny, Damian Priest all the way. Sith.
It's time to spread out Damian Priest slowly up the card. It starts tonight. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, they win this one. I get it. Vince and Creative had this idea to get celebrities involved at WrestleMania. Now they're going to be in matches. But you got to give props to Bad Bunny. He's really, really, really been working reportedly to work. He's taking this seriously, whereas some people would rather just be like a special enforcer or something. He's really getting involved here. Miz and Morrison, they're at the point of their careers where, as Champ said, a loss or win doesn't help or hurt them. I think they're going to be around to build these guys up, to kind of give them the tap, if you will. Because deep down, Miz and Morrison both know what it was like to be the low man on the totem pole, needing the tap from vets. And that's what they're doing now, I think.
Right. Really quickly, gotta say hello to Fabricio, who's watching us on our YouTube from Brazil. Thank you for joining us from Brazil. Man, we are reaching out now. We're being seen in Brazil, fam.
Outstanding. How's it going, dude?
Also in the comments on Twitch, both Hector and my man's Corey, aka Twitch Grays, both say Bunny and Damian Priest will pick up the W. Right then, let's move on. Our next championship match will be for the Raw Tag Team Championships. The New Day defending the titles against AJ Styles and Omos. I almost went with AJ Styles and Omos, except for the fact that there's so many things out there saying that Omos is still not ready in terms of in-ring work, to the point that I don't think that the backstage folks are going to trust putting a championship on Omos. I'm pretty sure AJ is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in this matchup. So I'm going to say the New Day are going to remain the Raw Tag Team Champions. I may be wrong on this one. They might pull the trigger and put them on AJ and Omos, but I just don't see it. I just think that the New Day have been the standard of tag team wrestling in what has been an anemic tag team division on both shows, but they have been, the shining light that has been the tag team division. And hopefully they can continue to be that on Raw and get new challengers. Maybe even Cedric and Shelton can come back into the picture now that they're not with the Hurt Business. That would be pretty. They had some really good matches, even when they were in the Hurt Business. But I got New Day retaining. Sith, what about you?
We're insulting the fans again. Here we go again. Look, this match makes absolutely no fucking sense to me at all. It's just to get the New Day to defend the belts, and because of possible stories being built into other angles, we just happen to throw AJ Styles and Omos in the spot to be the contenders. The Hurt Business now disbanded. The tag team division really loses a lot of steam. And I said, we're insulting the fans, and, I'm going for the jugular. I'm going for a major upset here. I'm taking AJ Styles and Omos, because it makes no fucking sense to have Omos losing this match. I might be wrong about it tonight. If so, what? Yeah, I'm going for the upside.
Do you see my face? Do
Yeah.
you see my face? What?
Yes.
And look, and you know what's funny? Sip? And I don't know if you can see it in the comments, but Twitch Grace is also going with AJ and Omos.
Yeah.
So it's a split actually, because you and Twitch are going with AJ and Omos. Myself and Hector are going with the New Day. So
Cool.
There you go. All right, Hector. We'll see you in a bit. He works at a gas station, guys. So
We'll see you tonight, Hector.
It's tough. No, he's gonna be back in a bit. He's just checking on something. He's doing some work. He's actually doing work.
Cool.
So there you go. We'll see what happens in this tag match next. A match that absolutely no one gives a shit about, but it's happening anyway. The steel cage match between Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. And listen, I'm gonna be absolutely, completely honest with you, fam. I did a coin flip in my head on who to pick here because I honestly don't give a shit who wins or loses this match. I really don't. I don't care. But I did a coin flip and it came up Shane McMahon. So I'm just because I'm picking Shane McMahon to win, I don't even care if I get this one wrong because I just don't care for this match. But I picked Shane. Sith, what about you?
I'm having a bad flashback here because this
Fuck.
entire build has been shitty. And I can see how this got through to get started, possibly, okay? Shane thinking, Raw Underground was dropped quickly and Braun was popular in there, so we can have another match on a pay-per-view. Yeah, that's the ticket. Shit. I can hear the girlfriend right now laughing because of the fact that she knows I'm going to be miserable through this match. Now, Shane is a hell of a showman.
Try!
Big matches, right? And this will be no different. I'm going with Braun here, despite the fact that Shane's going to have outside help more than likely. I'm going with Braun, but this is going to be a lot like instead of this is going to make you want to take a bathroom break. That's how bad this is.
Twitch Gray said, I feel like Strowman needs to win to stay relevant. Dude, at this point, it doesn't even matter. And then Hector just dropped a reference on us that I don't think we're going to get. Maybe you might get this one. He said, did Giratina drop us in a distortion world to get this match? Don't know what that is.
Dude, you lost me there, honey. You lost me there, bro. You lost me.
Don't know what that is, but I appreciate the effort. But I'm picking Shane. Who are you picking?
I'm picking Braun.
You picking Braun?
But I really don't care.
Pokemon. See, I'm the old school Pokemon guy. I'm not with the new generation Pokemon. But
we can ask Hurt about that. Hurt and Robbie about that.
Word. All right, so I picked Shane. You picking Braun. You can leave your predictions in the comments. And again, these will go up. These predictions will go up on our Facebook page right before we go live on Twitch. So you can put your predictions in the comment section there, so we can keep up with that as well. Twitch is going with Strowman, and Hector is going with Strowman. I'm the only dumbass going with Shane here. Great, awesome.
But nobody cares, though. I feel like that part in Jurassic Park. Watson, we've got Watson here. See, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Right. Anyway, next, let's talk about Cesaro versus Seth. I expect this match to be an absolute classic. I feel like this is going to be an absolute classic between these two guys. I think they're going to wrestle the hell out of this matchup. This could low key be the match of night one. Low key. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be completely honest. This could be the match of night one. So, listen, I'm picking Cesaro here because this will be the first singles match for Cesaro at a WrestleMania. I would hate for it to be a loss, especially to someone who doesn't necessarily need a win in Seth Rollins. I mean, granted, Seth Rollins had a WrestleMania match last year that he lost to KO, but I think this is the one where he's going to lose. I think it's going to be Cesaro all the way. I think they're going to finally start to push this man, Cesaro, to new heights. Finally, maybe we might see him win a world championship. We can only hope. Shane, champ, you nuts. Yes, Hector, I know I'm nuts. I did a coin flip in my head, and it said Shane, so I went with Shane. And yes, that was a pre-show. I'm talking about on the main card, Hector. Mm-hmm. He's never had a singles match on the main card. We don't count pre-show around here. Anyway, Seth, what do you got to say about Seth versus Cesaro?
This match is going to steal the night. This match, along with Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, which will be our main event, these two matches will steal the night. Okay? This is going to be a clinic. And if this is in the middle of the night, it could help set the table on the back end. These two guys are geniuses. Not only in promo, but also ring skill. This is a coin flip. I've been going back and forth on this. First it was Cesaro, then Seth Rollins, Cesaro, Seth Rollins. But after that promo last night on SmackDown, I gotta go with Cesaro. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going with the Swiss Cyborg.
Nice. That's the reason why I went to that, because they mentioned the whole he hasn't had a singles match on the main card of WrestleMania. So I said, okay, so this is
Mm-hmm.
going to be the one where it's his first and he's going to win. So I'm going with Cesaro as well. I think he's going to swing Seth like a million fucking times and he's going to end up winning.
Yep.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. Twitch Grays, this one blows the roof off of night one, if not all of Mania. I'm going with Rollins. Yeah, he don't need the win, but if they keep this feud going, Rollins needs a win to keep it going. Interesting. That's an interesting take there by my man Graves. Like that one. So okay, so he's going with Rollins. We're going with Cesaro. I'm sure Hector will jump in real quick with his pick while he's stocking sodas and such like that. So while he's doing that, we're going to move on to another match that I think nobody gives a single solitary shit about. And that is the Tag Team Turmoil match. You know what? No. Let me back up. I'm not going to say people don't give a shit about. Some people may care because you're actually going to be giving your women's tag team division a showcase and a platform because you have 5 teams in this. Originally, it was 4 teams. 1 team was recently added this week to that. So, who do you have in this tag team turmoil? You have Lana and Naomi. You have Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. You have the Riot Squad, Liv Morgan and Ruby Riot. You have Natalya and Tamina and Carmella. Now, reason why I'm going to care about this match is one. You're finally starting to put on your women's tag team division, finally. You're giving them a match where they can earn a shot at the tag team championships the next night. That's cool. Another reason why I'm paying attention to this is the team of Natalya and Tamina have been sneaky good as a tandem, as a duo as of late. They've been sneaky good. And you saw what they did on SmackDown this past week. Number 3, I like the fact that Billie Kay is going to finally have a fucking match. And Carmella. And it's on Mania. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy that they're going to both have a match on Mania. And it's going to be a chance to get a shot at the women's tag titles. Who am I picking? The very team I just said has been sneaky good for the last few weeks. I'm talking about Natalya and Tamina. They're going to win the tag team turmoil match to move on to face off against the champions the next night. What do you got to say about that, Sith?
Oh, man. Okay, and in a nutshell, this is a tag team gauntlet. The last team standing gets a shot at Jackson Baszler tomorrow night. Look, no disrespect to Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose as well as the Wyatt Squad, but they don't stand much of a chance at all. No disrespect to Carmella and Billie Kay, but they're just starting out as a tag team, so you're really not going to put the wheels on them quite yet. So it narrows down to Natalya, Tamina, Lana, Naomi. And I am going with Natalya and Tamina easily.
Yeah. And it's funny in the chat here. Corey's going with Riot Squad via coin flip. Hector's going with Naomi and Lana. And who are you going with?
I'm going with Natalya and Tamina.
Right. Okay. So there you go. We got 3 different tag teams that are going that could be going over, and one of them is not the Riot Squad, which I think sucks because I like them. But I just feel like Natalya and Tamina have just been sneaky good this last little bit of time. So let's roll with that. Right. Main event. It was announced that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair's SmackDown Women's Championship match would main event night 1. This would be the first time that 2 African American women would main event a WrestleMania. Talk about history in the making. I should put myself on the screen, shouldn't I? There we go. History in the making here, guys. Bianca Belair, the winner of the 2021 Royal Rumble, on the same week that an African American woman was inducted into the legacy section of the WWE Hall of Fame, that two African American women will headline the first night of WrestleMania in what should be an amazing, amazing championship match. And unless we're getting swerved here, it's gonna be Bianca Belair's time. She's winning the championship. I like the fact that Sasha's being more of a heelish bitch. Because we all said it on this podcast plenty of times, she's better as a heel than a baby face. So I like that, especially after the promo she did on Friday, which was, we may cover in the weekend review. But she I feel like this is going to be another match that's going to be amazing. And it's going to showcase two of the best women in professional wrestling. Uh, and they're going to get the spotlight because they're going to be the last match of night one. All eyes are going to be on them. And especially if some of these earlier matches don't have that same sizzle, they could easily send everybody home of night one happy with a really strong match and an even better result of Bianca Belair winning the championship. Sith.
Wow. This had a really, really good build. And yeah, the heel turn from Sasha Banks was needed, but predictable, as Bianca was always going to be the babyface in this match. Sasha, to her credit, has been champion since October and has been thankfully with the belt a bit longer than I initially thought because of creative's reluctance to have the boss as a top tier champion long term. I'm going with the EST of WWE to become our new SmackDown Women's Champion, but it's going to be a hell of a match tonight. Bianca Belair.
Didn't realize I was muted. My bad. I'm trying to do like a million things in one time here. But the consensus in the chat is that Belair is going to win. And so everybody's feeling like Belair is going to win it. Twitch said Belair is going to win. Sasha going full heel afterwards.
Yeah.
And Hector's asked if she's been heel, and I think what he means, Hector, is that she's been like teetering on heel. She's been doing heelish things, but I think she's going to be fully a heel and really go off like be evil after this is over and done. Super Saiyan heel, right? That's what he means. Super Saiyan heel shit right there. So Seth, what do you think is going to be the preliminary grade? What is your preliminary grade for night one of WrestleMania?
I have it as a B minus. What brings this grade down so hard is that nobody fucking cares about Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon or New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. Bad Bunny versus The Miz might actually turn heads. However, if these matches overperform on expectations, along with the big three that I've alluded to, this could be awesome. And the grade could go up. I'm just erring on the side of caution here. B minus.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it at a B minus as well. That steel cage match is just something that just does not have an interest for anybody that really cares. The tag team turmoil almost got that same feel, but then when I look at it and see the teams in it and see that they're actually going to be showcasing the teams, hopefully they get plenty of time to be able to do something with this. I feel like this is a B minus card, but again, things could change. That steel cage match might actually catch my interest if they do something wild with it. Who knows? I don't know. But either way, we'll see. So that's night one. Let's quickly go through night two because, we're trying to get this done in under 2.5 hours so that we have enough time to rest, get snacks and stuff like that, and get ready for the beginning of night one streaming here or on Twitch. So if you're watching this outside of Twitch, remember twitch.tv/ True No Spots Pod. We will be on here at 7:30 ish Eastern Standard Time to begin the watch along for WrestleMania 37 Night 1. All right? All right, so let's start with night two. Night two, we have for the Raw Women's Championship, we have Asuka against Rhea Ripley. We seen this implode almost quickly. What happened on Raw when, as a tag team, Rhea just said, "Look, fuck this shit. We ain't friends, and I'm just nah." Pushes her off, cost her the match against the women's tag team champions, really setting forth the matchup between these two at WrestleMania, where they will go at it for the women's championship. We all remember Rhea Ripley's moment last year during WrestleMania. She was coming in as the NXT Women's Champion. It was going to be the first time ever that an NXT Championship was being defended at WrestleMania. And they turned around and put the title on fucking Charlotte Flair. Oh, fuck me. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. And then also, it wasn't as impactful because it was in the Performance Center. It was in front of nobody. But they put on a hell of a match, and I know Rhea Ripley's going to put on another great match with Asuka. But I just feel like they're going to take the title and put it on Rhea, even though Asuka's been the MVP as this Raw Women's Champion throughout this pandemic era. I think that they're elevating Rhea for a reason, and that is to have her become the Raw Women's Champion and start making a run as a monster going through the Raw Women's division. So my pick is Rhea Ripley will become the new Raw Women's Champion. What do you think?
Okay, this presents an intriguing matchup, and although we know the likelihood was going to be Charlotte beating Asuka, we know that could end up with one of two things here. Option A would just put Rhea Ripley over in her permanent main roster spot on the Raw Women's roster, which could be a major course correct in the women's division, as Rhea isn't a member of the Four Horsewomen, and give her a long title reign, which make up for the debacle last year where she was well over in NXT and building a legacy until Charlotte came in, won the title because of the Wednesday night ratings that barely spiked. Or my pick of Rhea Ripley wins, and at the next pay-per-view, which is Money in the Bank, drop it immediately to Charlotte so the creative do what they do and push the horsewomen. But I'm going with option A, going rogue here, putting Rhea over, but having Rhea pull off a major upset. It's very odd for someone to hit the main roster, debut in a title match, and win it. However, Asuka won't be hurt by this. I expect her to be dominant here as well. So therefore, Rhea wins and becomes your new Raw Women's Champion. And please do not put B into play.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I just feel like this is the time. This is the time where Oscar will lose the championship. Rhea will become the champion. Just backtracking here, both Hector and Twitch have C grades for night one of WrestleMania. Twitch has a C plus, and Hector has it as a C. So we all don't have a lot of high hopes for night one. Hopefully, they kind of exceed those very low expectations. We'll see. Right, let's talk about The Fiend versus Randy Orton. What can we say about this one? Fastlane happened where Randy Orton went up against Alexa Bliss, and I mistakenly and thought I was being smart, saying, "Oh, it's going to be a no contest, no problem. You know, neither one of them needs a victory." Then The Fiend comes out all burnt up with melted mask and all this other shit, hits him with a Sister Abigail, and fucking Alexa Bliss gets on top of him like she's riding him and pins him, which pissed me off because that ruined my predictions for that show. God damn it! Oh man, ruined it. But now we get The Fiend versus Randy Orton, and I see this as a win for The Fiend, because of course the big win for Randy was in the Firefly Inferno match, where Randy was able to get the victory, setting him on fire and completely burning him up and sending him away for months. We thought it was over. It wasn't over by a long shot. So here we are. Randy's going to put on a pretty great performance. This is going to be a pretty decent match, but we'll see. But I'm putting my money on The Fiend here. I'm putting my money on The Fiend. Sith?
This has been an intriguing story that's gone to the point where tomorrow night, WrestleMania Night 2, it comes to an end. Now, Champ and I have our grievances over how the match at Fastlane was handled. You can check out episode 101 for that one. That being said, we're going to end what's been a solid 5-month on and off feud. Now with the Fiend resurrected 3 weeks ago, and oh God, he looks worse than Leatherface in one of the worst Texas Chainsaw films. But anyway, it's only logical to pick the Fiend. Taking the Fiend and made the story end tomorrow night.
Yeah. Let's end this thing right here. We don't need any more of this. And by the way, Twitch has the comment of the day so far. When his prediction for this match, my kitchen wins this match because fuck this shit. Right. No, I feel you on that one, dude. I feel you on that one. But we'll sit here and watch it for you guys, of course. So we'll suffer through it. Maybe it might be good, maybe it might not. Who knows? All right. Nigerian drums match for the IC Championship. Apollo Crews and Big E. Basically, Nigerian drums match means there's no rules. I like the vignette that they did for Big E on Friday Night SmackDown because he's from Tampa. He's gonna be in Tampa defending that championship at WrestleMania. It's gonna be it's a part of me. I was going back and forth with this pick. This is one of the few picks on both nights cards that I was going back and forth with and had to really make a critical decision on who the fuck I was gonna pick. Last time they had this matchup, Big E and Cruz, I picked Apollo Crews and he lost. I'm going to be stupid and I'm going to pick Cruz again because I feel like this time it's got to be him at this point. It's got to be him at this point. You can't have him be this new character, this new royal Nigerian character, this character change, this heel turn, and then have him go into WrestleMania and get another opportunity to the championship that he lost. He lost his one opportunity for. Have him go back in there and lose again. Because then what are you going to do with him after that? It's got to be Cruz. It's got to be Cruz, Sith. It's got to be Cruz.
This has breathed new life into Apollo Crews big time with this heel turn. It's been a really cool storyline, too. The irony is that we don't know what the fuck a Nigerian drum fight is yet. No one knows. I'm thinking it's probably some type of hardcore match, possibly, but we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and
just said it's no rules. I just totally said that.
Yeah. I'm going with a title change here, giving Apollo the W. I don't see it ending in a DQ, no rules, or Big E retaining, because honestly, Big E moves into the Universal title picture soon enough. Apollo Crews.
Right. Let's see. Twitch is like, why couldn't they have just said no holds barred? Because Apollo Crews is from Nigerian royalty, so it's a Nigerian drum fight. That's why they had to put a little fancy name to it. And he's picking Cruz as well because he thinks it's time for Big E to go on to bigger things, maybe a Universal title run, maybe. That makes sense. So that's, again, I'm going with Cruz. I think finally Cruz pulls through because you just can't have him lose at this point with this new character and this new heel persona. It just he'll go nowhere and it'll be just a waste. Okay. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Of course, you're going to have Logan Paul in the mix, most likely. And I feel like Logan Paul will cost Sami Zayn the victory, especially given what happened on SmackDown Friday with that little vignette, with that little segment that they had. I think that Logan Paul is tired of Sami Zayn's shit, and he's going to cost Sami Zayn the matchup. KO is going to stun him. KO thought about jumping off of the little Buccaneer ship onto somebody, but after showing the stage, that joke is going to be way too high for him to try that shit, so he ain't going to be able to do that. But I'm pretty sure he's going to have some kind of WrestleMania moment. So I'm going with KO to get the victory over Sami Zayn, thanks to Logan Paul. Sith?
Yeah. These guys have had a very long history dating back to 2002 in Ring of Honor in the Indies. They've been an amazing tandem together, longtime best friends outside the ring, and at this WrestleMania, their story goes into absolute overdrive because now Kevin Owens is the face, and Zayn's definitely the heel, and honestly, Sami Zayn is at the top of his WWE career at this point, as no one saw this coming after how bad he was portrayed early in his main roster work. KO is doing his best work as a face in WWE, although I still think he's better as a heel. Shh. But I've never thought this would work out the way it has because he's been solid as a heel. Going with Kevin Owens here, but expect this to be a sleeper for match of the night.
And I would agree with you there. I think this is low-key going to be the match of night 2 between these two. These two guys. You know what? No, I take that back. I think this is going to be a pick for the second best match of the night because we know how these two guys can work. And here's why I say that KO versus Sami Zayn will be the second best match of the night. Because you still have for the United States Championship Riddle versus Sheamus. That, my friends, is going to be match of the night. Because if you've seen how they put it down on TV, on Raw, then you know with WrestleMania, they're going to go all out and all in. I'm picking Riddle. Yes, I'm picking Riddle to retain his championship here. But I'm going to tell you something. He is going to go through a hell of a fight with the Irishman, who is actually coming back. He's bringing back his old heel look of the mohawk and the braided beard. So that'll be interesting to see the braided beard and the mohawk back again for Sheamus in this matchup. Sith, what do you got to say about that one?
I get it, fam. I get it. We're supposed to buy into Riddle being this dopey stoner who can't think straight in fucking promos and just get him as far over as his ring work. But sadly, Riddle's run here isn't working with me. There's a major difference between this version and the original Bro that was honestly had me over big time. Sheamus, per usual, best as a heel, and this is just amazing. Going with Sheamus here as he needs to have the belt for a few months unless Keith Lee is returning as a heel. Going with Sheamus.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Like I said, I think that Riddle will retain. I feel like they want to give him a little bit longer run. There's a lot of talk that even the botch that he had with Asuka was received with a lot of comedy, and they might run with that. I think that he retains. I think he keeps that and everything. So I'm just gonna stick with Riddle on this one. Also, for the women's tag team championships, of course, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are the champions. They will be going up against to be determined, as in the team that wins the tag team turmoil match on night 1, which I'm picking as Tamina and as Natalya. And I shouldn't do this because I did this with Stand and Deliver, where I picked the winner. I said the winner of the Eliminator will go on to win the championship, and not only did I pick the wrong winner, but then the champions retained. But I'm going to go with it again. Tamina and Natalya will be your new women's tag team champions because, as I said before, they have been sneaky good as a duo the last few weeks on SmackDown. And you got some really good teams on SmackDown that they could defend those titles against, such as the Riot Squad. So let's see what happens with Billie Kay and Carmella, right? And then they can come to Raw and go up against Lana and Naomi or whoever else they could team with. Or they can go down to NXT. Can you imagine the matchup they can have? Champion versus champion. Natty and Tamina versus TCB. Can you imagine them matchup there? So I'm going with the winners. I'm going on record as saying the winner of the tag team turmoil match will win the tag team championships on night 2. I picked Natty and Tamina, So but I'm going on record saying the winner of the tag team turmoil wins the tag team title. Sith.
Yeah. I picked Tamina and Natalia, and you know something, fam? They will unseat Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler. I will double down on this. If it's Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler versus Tamina and Natalia, Carmella and um, Billy Kay, or even Lana Naomi, they will, if they come out of the gauntlet, one of those three teams, they will beat Nia and Shayna finally. It's time for Nia and Shayna to finally get at each other in a feud. It's been bubbling at the surface, and it's also time for a more credible team to be champions. And new Natalia and Tamina.
Right. All right, so finally, our main event of night two, the main event of the entire event, it will be the triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns defending against the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble match winner Edge and Daniel Bryan. This is the other one of the other matches that I just was having trouble picking a winner because I feel like whichever one I picked would be the right choice if it was made. So I I I decided to go with the safe pick. I decided to go with the safe pick and go with Roman Reigns because I just feel like I mean the only way that scenario could not work is if Edge pins DB or DB pins Edge, and that way Roman, if Roman does lose the title, he can't be pinned. We got to keep him strong and looking like he's unstoppable. So one of those two guys, Edge or DB, has to pin the other or make the other submit or something like that, so that Roman Reigns can have a claim to come back for the Universal title later on. But I'm going with the safe pick here. I think he retains, maybe setting up a matchup between him and Big E once Big E loses the Intercontinental Championship, and then maybe Big E is the one that can dethrone the otherwise powerful head of the table. So that's what I'm going with is Roman Reigns retains the championship. Sith?
We are 7 months into the reign of the tribal chief, the head of the table, mob boss Roman. You have the plight of Edge trying to get back a championship as he stepped down and had to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship. You have the plight of Daniel Bryan trying to have one last hard run. I have Roman retaining as you've got a monster heel that's very dominant and very crafty and a story that honestly gets better week by week. Roman wins by pinning Daniel Bryan. And yes, our tribal chief will have an insurance policy or two to get this done. Sorry, Edge, your dream ends this weekend. Roman.
There you go. So we're both going with Roman to finish this off. And Twitch Race is going with Edge to get the W, pinning Daniel Bryan. Fair enough. But like we said, for all these predictions, night two predictions will be up to tomorrow, Sunday, before the event. So if you have predictions for these, make sure you comment them on our Facebook page, facebook.com/no spots pod. And again, join us 7:30 tomorrow as well for night two reactions for WrestleMania 37 exclusively on Twitch, twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod. Preliminary grade for night two, Sis, what do you got?
I've got this as a B plus, but teetering on a B. This night on paper should be better than night one, but surprise, things could happen in a good way or a bad way. I'm hoping for the best here, but honestly, the women's tag team match, as well as Riddle and Sheamus, kind of bring the grade down for me preliminary wise. So I'm being cautiously optimistic with a B plus. And overall, it's a B for right now. But the way things have been handled on the main roster, I'm hoping that my cautious optimism pays off in spades this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that this night is gonna be a B. I feel like the women's tag team title match is the one match that's gonna affect it in a not so good way. I think Riddle and Sheamus will be a positive part of it. I honestly think Fiend and Randy Orton is going to be the one that's going to be the another difference maker on whether it goes up or down as well. All the other matches on here are very solid, and and are expected to either keep the grade where it is or up it just a bit. But I think that the women's tag title match and Orton versus the Fiend may be the ones that either bring it up or bring it down. With the women's tag title match possibly bringing it down, they would really have to go out there and just have an out of body experience in terms of in ring work in order for it to not bring the grade down or actually move it up. And again, this is no disrespect to them as women as perform, but it's just that the way that they've been booking this women's division, both singles and tag, you can't have a lot of confidence that a match like this on this stage is going to elevate anything. And it's just the way it has been. So my preliminary grade for both nights, averaging them out, I feel like it'll be a B pay-per-view overall. Like I said, you have a couple matches on night one that just don't have a lot of appeal, and then you have a couple matches on this one. So out of 14 matches, you have maybe 3 or 4 that could negatively affect the overall quality of the show of itself. But I think the one thing we can be happy about is that for the first time in over a year, WWE will have fans in the stands, and it'll be at their biggest show. So let's see how it goes. Let's see if they're able to keep people safe and be able to, get out of that 2 nights without any COVID positive COVID test results, and let's have some fun. And again, you can watch along with us later on tonight, 7:30, right here on Twitch, as well as tomorrow at the same time, right here on Twitch. Right, let's see if we can get through the weekend review in 30 minutes. I doubt it, but we're going to try anyway. So, let's start with Raw. Oh man. We always say that Monday Night Raw is a slog to get through and watch. We always say that, but this one was another one of those episodes of Raw that I kind of wish I didn't watch, but unfortunately I had to watch so that we could talk about it here. I tell people all the time, if I didn't do this podcast, I wouldn't watch the amount of wrestling that I watch. Because a lot of people were amazed that I watched the amount of wrestling that I do, and I said, well, it's because I have a wrestling podcast. I have to provide content. I can't sit here and just watch one fed, one show, and then expect to go on a wrestling podcast and talk about that one fed and that one show and have people want to listen. Like, it just won't happen. I have to watch. We watch 4 or 5 different feds, multiple shows for each fed. We watch WWE, we watch AEW, Impact, and then I watch New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The only ones we don't watch is Ring of Honor, and we was watching NWA until they decided, yeah, you got to pay to watch us on Fight, and I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm cool. Like, no, I'm not doing that. But anyway, Monday Night Raw. So Sith, here we go. Let's just get this over with, shall we? Here are your 5 pits.
May God have mercy on our souls.
Riddle going up against Ali, which wasn't a bad match, actually. So yeah. I will say that. It wasn't a bad match. Asuka and Rhea Ripley against the tag champs, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, where Rhea decided, listen, we don't get along, we're not friends, and I'm going to show you why we're not friends, and I'm going to take your fucking title. Baron Corbin, King Corbin against Drew McIntyre. The opening segment where Drew was confronted by Lashley. And finally, the segments involving Miz and Morrison along with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, where Miz and Morrison defaced the $3 million Bugatti with paint. Bad Bunny comes out with the interesting acting job and then gets jumped. Then he comes out and cuts a promo, which I barely understood what he said. No disrespect at all. I just didn't understand what he was saying in the context. And then they end up turning this match, which was supposed to be a singles match between Bad Bunny and Miz, into a tag match, which we already talked about in the WrestleMania preview. So there you go, Sid. Those are your 5. Riddle versus Ali, Asuka Ripley versus the tag champs, Corbin versus Drew, the opening segment of Raw, and all of the segments involving Miz and Morrison Bad Bunny and Damien Priest.
Uh, Corbin McIntyre, decent main event. It's up by number one, if you will. But it hurts like hell that we had to go through so much shit on Raw to find segments that were good. This was a bad thing to spill into WrestleMania. I mean, this is your go home show on your flagship show leading into your Super Bowl of pay-per-views. Real Mustafa Ali's my number two. Decent match, didn't hurt things at all. It gives me a little bit of optimism, hindsight 2020, about Riddle Sheamus. But this was a high point for me, that on a show that was discombobulated. I still don't see a lot of use for Mustafa Ali post-Mania. I think he's back now to main event, probably. Sadly, but we shall see. And Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, Asuka. It was just predictable. And it was shit. I mean, you had to turn Rhea Ripley heel, I get it. But really, it's the same bullshit that happened a couple of weeks prior, leading up to Fastlane, with Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. Cut and paste, same situation. So, yeah, that was bad.
All right, what do you got for me, sir?
The segments involving Miz and Morrison and Bad Bunny, Damien Priest. King, Baron Corbin versus Drew McIntyre. Riddle versus Mustafa Ali. Bobby Lashley versus Cedric Alexander. And Xavier Woods versus the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
Riddle Ali actually tops the list for me because, again, very skilled contest between the two. They absolutely just really did well for what they had and the time that they had, especially given the fact that Mustafa Ali has nothing to do with the U.S. title picture at all, and has nothing to do with WrestleMania. But the fact that Riddle was able to get the victory, you had Sheamus at ringside doing commentary to add to the whole story of him facing Riddle for the title. Riddle just is such a good worker. So is Ali. They really did well for what they had on what was a very poor show to watch. They were one of the high points, and that was my top high point. My second high point was definitely Drew versus Baron Corbin. It was your typical big man match. Corbin, actually, this is probably one of Corbin's best matches he's had, especially since the King gimmick. This is probably one of his best matches. So I got to tip the hat to him for that. The Miz and Morrison segments were my low point because Bad Bunny trying to cut a promo, you could tell that fucking shit was scripted to the letter, and he was trying to remember it and say it, and that's why it didn't resonate and make sense to me, because it was scripted. And then it went to a point where he started to speak Spanish, because clearly, that's his primary language, and so I guess when you get nervous, you try to get comfortable, so you go with what you know. But it just, the promo didn't resonate with me. The whole defacing a $3 million car, that's old shit. Like, you defacing it with paint, like, come on, guys. Like, let's go. And then the acting job from Bunny before he gets jumped. He's like, it's almost like he didn't care that the car got defaced, but he tried to act like he cared. And it just, everything about these segments just didn't resonate with me, and it ended up turning what was going to be a potential singles match into a tag match, which may be good because Bad Bunny hasn't been training very long at wrestling. So I think it's best that it would be a tag match so that Damian Priest can do all the heavy lifting, and then Bad Bunny can do a couple moves and get the victory that way. So that's my low point. There's those segments. And all in all, the fact that we were able to find two things each from Raw that actually were good is a miracle in and of itself, because the show was just not good. And this is like you said, Seth, This is your go home show to your biggest show of the year. And that is what you presented to us on your flagship show. That is shameful. Shameful, shameful, shameful. In other words, it was quite simply.
Try it.
Thank you. Right then. Let's talk about Dark. This part of the segment, we're going to talk about both Dark Elevation and Dark back to back. Also, remember that this is Tuesday night. We will not be talking about Impact because that'll be later because this was the week they moved back to their normal Thursday night spot. So we will talk about that right before we get to the NXT UK report. So that'll be what's going on with Impact moving forward. We'll talk about that prior to the NXT UK report. And so there you go. So now AEW Dark proper has its own night. AEW Dark Elevation sort of shares its night with Raw. It starts an hour before Raw and usually does kind of bleed into the start of Raw. But this week on AEW Dark Elevation, here are the 5 bits I have for you here, Sith. Max Caster defeating Colt Cabana. The Seidel brothers losing to All Ego, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky in the main event. The Dark Order only getting 1 victory, which was from 10 out of 3 matches. What is this next one right here is actually not only one that stood out to me, but this is also our second stat of the day.
Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Here comes the stat of the day!
There were 3 women's matches on the card for AEW Dark Elevation. The match times combined were 9 minutes and 53 seconds for 3 women's matches. And that stood out to me, and not in a good way. So that's the 4th. And the 5th is Lance Archer absolutely squashing Baron Black. All right, Sith. Floor is yours.
Numero uno for me was the Seidel brothers versus Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Fun, solid main event. And Hardy versus Angels was a solid lead-in to the match as well. I really like the chemistry between All Ego, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky. And I want to see more of that, please and thank you. These two could rise up the ranks and possibly get tag team gold, which would be a second for Sky in AEW because he was one of the tag team champions in SCU. Yeah, with Kazarian. Number 2 for me was Caster versus Colt Cabana. The diss track wasn't as solid as far as Max's diss tracks go, but it was still good. The match overall was insane, though. And for those thinking that Colt Cabana was hurt by the outcome, watch it again. Okay? Watch the finish again. Pay close attention. All right? And you'll see why it didn't hurt him in the end. And the worst is what Champ brought up, the women's matches. The only one that was really good was Tesha Price versus Ryo Mizunami. But the problem is that Big Swole Jasmine Allure, Britt Baker versus Alex Gracia. What have I told y'all about Dark and Dark Elevation? It should be about quality, not quantity. And what they're doing here is they're putting in, on average, about 5 to 7 matches a week on Dark Elevation that are squashes or just over so quickly that you're like, fuck, and you feel empty-handed. And that's a big problem. It's still better than Monday Night Raw, no doubt. It's far and beyond better than Monday Night Raw. But we deserve better. Champ, I'm going to give you your 5.
Go for it.
Not only the glorified squash of Lance Archer just destroying Baron Black, but the post-match promo. The Seidel brothers versus All Ego, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky. Dark Order, only 1 for 3 this week. Dean Alexander and Carly Bravo versus the Varsity Blondes. Michael Nakazawa versus Very Morales. And Tesha Price versus Ryo Mizunami.
Michael Nakazawa versus Barry Morales is immediately my low point. Any match with Michael Nakazawa in is a low point for me. Sorry. I can't take him seriously. I can't, and I won't. So, yeah, that's immediately a low point for me. Next. My high points. Varsity Blondes tag match was really, really good. I really like their development as a tag team. I'm hoping that they can rise up in the tag team division and maybe get a shot at the tag titles down the line. So definitely like that one. Definitely did like Ryo Mizunami's match. She's so fun to watch. She is. I really enjoyed that one. That was one of the, like I said, 2 of the 3 women's matches on this card I enjoyed a lot. The other one, I believe, was Red Velvet is in it. No, Big Swole, I'm sorry. And it was enjoyable. I feel bad for Alex Gracia because, number one, she's absolutely freaking cute as a button. And she's a very good wrestler. And she got beat in 28 fucking seconds to Britt Baker, which, don't get me wrong. I mean, I get what they're trying to do with Britt, but come on now. 28 seconds, fam. Like, let's not kid ourselves here, guys. Anyway. So, but yeah, those are my 2. And then again, Michael Nakazawa, big no. Fuck off. Anyway, let's stick with Dark. Let's talk about Dark proper. So, Sith. Jurassic Express squashes their opponents on preparing for their match against Bear Country. Is there still dissension within Team Taz? It seemed like it this past Tuesday. The Sea Stars make their debut as a tag team and win. Ryan Nemeth goes one-on-one with Fuego del Sol. And Kylan King and Red Velvet against Vipers and Maddie Rinkowski. What do you got for us, Sith?
Oh, Jesus. Ryan Nemeth, Fuego del Sol is my number 1 of those 5. It was much better than the one that's going to be mentioned as the worst. He put on a really good, solid match. Definitely my top match of the 5. And Team Sea Stars getting a win over Jasmine Lynn Vertivixen. But that's just my opinion. It's better than some of the women's matches we've been getting of late, to say the least. And Jurassic Express is absolutely trash this week. As much as I'd like Jurassic Express, I get it. You have to make them look strong. But y'all know how I feel about squash matches. And this was a glorified squash. Trash. Champ, you're 5.
Yep.
Ryan Nemeth, who's Dolph Ziggler's baby brother, versus Fuego del Sol. Kylan King and Red Velvet versus Mandy Rensky and Vipers. Baron Black versus JD Drake. TH2, the Hybrid 2 versus Bear Country. Matt Sydal versus Mike Magnum. And Sunny Kiss and Joey Janela, our Jersey boys there, versus Aaron Fry and Casey Navarro. Champ, the floor is yours, good sir.
All right. Ryan Nemeth and Fuego definitely number 1 for me as well. Such a solid match. I'm telling you, eventually Fuego del Sol is gonna finally win, and he's gonna nail the Tornado DDC and win. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen sooner or later. I mean, we all was wondering when Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon were gonna get wins, and they finally were able to get wins towards the tail end of 2020. So maybe by summer, maybe even the fall of 2021, Fuego will be tornado DDCing everybody and all of a sudden shoot up in the rankings. Who knows? I don't know, but we'll see. But this was a very solid match between these two guys. And the dynamic that is Ryan Nemeth and JD Drake is so unique. And then you add in Cesar Bernoni in it as well. It's just such a unique dynamic. I can't. I want to see where they go with this, but really enjoyed that match. Very solid indeed. And Kylan King and Red Velvet are making such a great team as well. And then you add in Big Swole as the third person in that mix, and it's just fun. They're just fun to watch. I like the fact that Kylan King is starting to stack up some wins as well. Red Velvet as well. They're gonna finally have Red Velvet versus old girl. What's her freaking name? Jay Cargill. I'm sorry. Red Velvet versus Jay Cargill. They're gonna finally go 1-on-1 this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. It'll be the first Dynamite unopposed from NXT without a special event being in the place of NXT, as NXT is moving to Tuesday starting this week. So that's right, yeah. So we're gonna be covering NXT and Dark on Tuesdays. Jesus Christ. All right. So those are my two: Nemeth Fuego and then Kylan King and Velvet versus Vipers and Rinkowski. Um. Hmm. What were the other three, Seth?
Hold on, I got you, dude. The Jersey Boys versus Aaron Fry, Casey Navarro. I gave you. Let's see, you did. I never sold. Baron Black, JD Drake, I believe, and Sydal Magnum.
Jersey Boys match I didn't enjoy as much. It was mostly almost like a spotlight match where it was mostly the offense was from Janela and Kiss. It wasn't a bad match. I just didn't enjoy it. And then when you look at like JD Drake and Baron Black, like literally just blistered the fuck out of each other. So that was really good. And Sydal and Magnum was okay, but I think that the Sunny Kiss and Joey Janela match just wasn't high on my radar as all the other ones. So that's what I'll pick as my bad bit. And what I'm not saying it was bad. It just wasn't it for me. It just wasn't it for me. That's just all there is to it. So that's Dark, both Dark and Dark Elevation. Remember that starting next week, when we cover Tuesday, we'll be covering Dark proper and NXT. Mondays will be Raw and Elevation, and Wednesdays will be Dynamite by itself. So that's where we are now. Dynamite. And remember, we're not going to be covering NXT during the weekend review because we already did that with the Stand and Deliver review we did earlier on in the podcast. So we're probably going to get through this fairly quickly. Dynamite. Let's start with you, Sif. I started the last couple times. Let's start with you and your bits for me, sir.
Hangman Adam Page, our Virginia boy, versus Max Caster. The Inner Circle promo, where we get the announcement that we're finally getting blood and guts. The main event, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks, is number 3. Number 4, the Ambush Showdown between Inner Circle and Pinnacle, with the appearance of Mike Tyson. And number 5, I would have to say... I'd have to say Britt Baker's promo.
The what?
Britt Baker's promo.
Right. Well, off the break, the Inner Circle promo is number 1. Because Chris Jericho got his shit off. He absolutely got his shit off. And it was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely fun to listen to. It was absolutely. I like the way when they came out, how the crowd sang along with the Judas and everything, which they've always done, but somehow it hits better. It hits different now that he came out the face tunnel. That was the first mind fuck right there. Was the Inner Circle came out? They had the cameras locked on the heel tunnel the whole time, and then they go to a wide shot, and here they come out the face tunnel. It's just like, holy shit, they're really faces. That's craziness. But then he came out and said, "You want to hear what we have to say? You have to wait until after the break." And that kind of trolling the fans, but in a fun way. That was good. And then you come back, and he absolutely got his shit off, and I loved it. I mean, Chris Jericho is one of the best promos in the game, and he proved it on this occasion. And you got to respect it for the man who's been in the game for 30 plus years to still be able to cut a good promo at this stage in the game is amazing. Hangman versus Caster was my other good one. That was a very solid opening match. Of course, you had the potential interference from Bowen, but it was somewhat neutralized by the presence of Evil Uno, and it still turned out to be a win for Hangman. The loss doesn't really hurt Caster, especially because his partner is getting ready to come back from his knee injury, so he'll be back in the tag team ranks, and they can continue to climb up the tag team ranks and hopefully get a shot at the tag team championships once again down the line. My down bit had to be the Pinnacle and Inner Circle sort of thing with Mike Tyson, because you could tell that Mike Tyson was pulling his punches because he didn't want to really hit homeboy Sean Spears. He didn't want to really hit him, so you could tell he was kind of pulling him and trying to show, do the whole fake punching thing. And you could tell by that, and then it just seemed, that whole segment just seemed so disjointed. I mean, it was kind of brought together. It was kind of together a little bit, but then when Mike got involved, it kind of got a little bit disconnected, a little bit. Because how is it that everybody got out of the ring except Sean Spears to get caught by a man who's in his 60s? How do you get caught by that? Like, I don't understand. Like, none of that made sense to me. And then you get the Inner Circle finally gets in. After Jericho got jumped, everybody comes in, and then all of a sudden, they shake hands, Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho, and they bury the hatchet, but they don't really say nothing to each other. They just bury the hatchet, and that's it. So that was the only down bit for me. It wasn't a bad bit. It was just down because it's just none of that made any sense. And, thankfully, it didn't take away from the epic promo that Jericho did. Okay. All right, Sith, here we go. Your 5 bits. Number 1. Young Bucks turning heel during the main event. The Inner Circle returns with their promo, plus the segment where they align themselves with Mike Tyson. Jurassic Express against Bear Country, labeled as Godzilla versus Kong. Max Caster versus Hangman Page. And Ty Conti versus The Bunny.
I'd have to say, first and foremost, Itu Matnik. Itu? As they turned on Moxley during that match and stand alongside the brethren in the Elite. Really, really awesome, to say the least. And I'm not mad about the outcome. So please, don't come at me saying Moxley got screwed. You had to have Shakespearean drama, and that's what this was. It was Shakespeare. I dig it. Number 2, I'd have to say Hangman Page, Max Caster, most definitely. Need to pull over the pod because, as Champ said, some say that it does not hurt Caster at all. This is filler because he's not ready for that singles rush. But when Anthony Bowens comes back, expect them to run roughshed and become tag team championship contenders that way. I'd have to say, now that you've added in the Mike Tyson part, the parts with the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle, only because of, Tyson trying to hold back on the punches on Spears and whatnot. The lack of acknowledgement is a good thing in a way, because between Jericho and Tyson, kind of leaves you a little bit of a tease maybe to see what's going to happen down the road with these two. But that was my bad of the five, though.
Right. But I mean, it's a stretch using that as a low point
Yeah,
in the show because the show was absolutely just awesome.
yes,
And I mean, it was going up against the first night of a takeover, and it did lose in the ratings numbers wise. It did lose in the ratings, but it will be the final loss for them because now NXT is going to be on Tuesday night. So now you can expect that they're going to see they're going to see 1 million somewhere down the line, if not this coming Wednesday, but at least within the next couple of weeks. There's gonna be a 1 million number put up for AEW Dynamite. It's gonna happen. Just watch and see. Right. So we're flying through these. Let's talk about Impact now on Thursday nights, and they're really excited about that. I mean, freaking Striker and D'Lo were happy as pigs and shit about moving the Tuesday, Thursday back to Thursday nights. They wasn't they? But all right. So let's talk about it. So Sith, here's the five for you. The 6-man main event of Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers against the Impact World Champion Rich Swann, Willie Mack, and Eddie Edwards. The 6-woman opening match between Jordan Grace, Jesus Christ, Jordan Grace, Jessica Havoc, and Rosemary against Alicia, against Tennille Dashwood, and against Nevaeh.
Mm-hmm.
Violent by Design setting a trap on James Storm and the crew. Jake Something's match against Matt Cardona. And the unlikely tag team of Trey Miguel and Sami Callihan against Triple XL.
Impact's a case of I liked every single thing here, but definitely number one was our main event this week, where you had Swan, Eddie Edwards, Eddie Mack Willie Mack versus the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. Solid main event, and proved that even though Kenny is doing his whole belt collector bit and the Good Brothers invading AEW, that the group that Don Callis does have some fallacy at times, which helps with the story build with them. So that's good. That's definitely one up. I'd have to say number two is Jordan Grace, Havoc, and Rosemary versus Tennille Dashwood, Nevaeh, and Alicia. Really good, solid 6-women tag match to start the show. Hello, AEW, WWE. Are you paying any attention to how this match built up the Knockouts division and told multiple stories and it wasn't a goddamn squash? Wake the fuck up. My favorite spot was the Russian leg sweep that Nevaeh did on Havoc, and they went through a table. That was something else. This is a stretch, but Triple XL versus Trey Miguel and Sami Callihan. I liked it, but it's what I liked the least out of the five. And I do think that Trey is being duped and being taken for a ride. I think Sami's going to turn on him eventually.
Okay, fair enough.
I do not buy Sami Callihan as a face. I'm sorry, folks. Come at me if you will in the comments. No, not happening.
I will say this: one of the matches that Havoc was showing on her 24-hour stream, which we'll check out, which I'll probably go and jump into after this, and well, after we raid Mariah and I say hi to Mariah, I'll probably jump back into Havoc's 24-hour stream to see what's going on. But one of the matches she showed, she was in an intergender tag match. It was her and Sami Callihan against Veda Scott, and I forgot the other person that they were facing. But Sami Callihan was a face in that match, and it was weird as fuck to see. So I would look up that match and watch it. I'm telling you, it's weird as fuck to see Sami Callihan do face shit and try to hype up a crowd. It was wild. But anyway, what are your 5 bits for me?
Matt Cardona versus Jake something.
Right.
This main event of Rich Swann, Eddie Edwards, and Willie Mack versus Good Brothers Kenny Omega. The opening 6-woman tag of Jordan Grace, Havoc, Rosemary versus Tennille Dashwood, Nevaeh, and Alicia. Do you think that Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly might be in a little bit of trouble? Because backstage, after Susan got the shit beaten out of her in the pre-show, she only said Sue in the right flashes. The Violent by Design backstage vignettes, and Chris Sabian versus Diener.
The Violent by Design vignettes are definitely number one. They really know how to produce those and make those impactful. Especially, they're gonna have to go forward with doing more of those vignettes as a means to keep Eric Young on TV. We already know he's probably gone into surgery already for his torn ACL, so they're gonna have to find a way to keep him integrated into that group so that group doesn't just die out and just go away. So you're gonna get used to having him on screen regardless of how you feel. So there you go. The other thing that I like was the main event 6-man, because also it really gives some kind of validation for Swann and gives him a chance to potentially keep his championship and become AEW World Champion at Rebellion. Could that really happen? I mean, they're trying to make it seem like there's a possibility. He was able to pin Carl Anderson to get it, not Kenny Omega. So we'll see what happens. But that one was up there with me. The one match that was a low for me, and I'm sorry to say this, was the Knockout 6-man because of how out of sorts it seemed like they were. 1, 2, how is it that Alicia Edwards is not a heel, but she was teamed with the 2 heels that are in this match, in Nevaeh and with Tennille Dashwood? Maybe Rosemary might have been a better pick to go on that side, and then Alicia on the other side. But I guess Alicia kind of fit the bill because she kind of did some heel things in it, but it just still did not seem like it fit to me. And then on top of that, Nevaeh doing a Russian leg sweep on Havoc through a table didn't really do much for the match. It just didn't really do much for the match. So it was the only one that I didn't really vibe with. And I normally vibe with the knockouts matches, but this one was the one match I didn't vibe with. And it sucked because it was setting up for them to have their weapons match, which took place today for Hardcore Justice, which I believe is over by now. So I'll probably look up the results, and we'll probably read off the results before we get out of here and everything like that. So I'll look them up while we do what's coming up next. But this was a pretty solid episode of Impact. I know that Sith got a little bit of a stiffy when they kind of teased that Su Yung might be jumping out of Susan's skin again. So he's gonna finally get his bay back. So there you go. Anyway,
Donnie,
let's talk.
You know what Donnie was gonna say about that? Oh shit, the goth bitch is back. Sith's gonna love it.
Pretty much. Anyway. All right, so we're still on Thursday, so that means NXT UK report from the basement. It was a special event. It was NXT UK Prelude. Sith, what do we expect from this week's report?
Let's see here. We had Noam Dar versus Tyler Bate in a Heritage Cup Classic match. Your winner becomes the #1 contender to go up against Stake. How did that turn out? You'll find out. We had Emilia McKenzie and Mako Satomura challenging Kaylee Ray and Ila Dawn in a tag team matchup with the women's division. You'll see how that ended and worked out. And what happens when you get two strong, powerful heavyweights going at it? Rampage Brown, Walter. Find this out on the NXT UK report right now. Hello, friends, and welcome to your NXT UK report for this week. This week, we had a special. We had NXT UK Prelude, where we had 3 matches on the card. We had Noam Dar versus Tyler Bate in a Heritage Cup rules bout. In round 1, Tyler Bate landed a dropkick and won a test of strength to win the round. Rounds 2 through 4 were heavily contested but ended up in draws. In round 5, Noam Dar evens things at 1 apiece with not locking in a knee bar. Then we went into sudden death. Round 6, and Bate countered the Nova Roller into the Tyler Driver 97 for the pin and the win. So Tyler Bate becomes your number 1 contender in the Heritage Cup for a kid to contend with. Jordan Devlin cut another solid promo, as his match against Santos Escobar was on this previous week, which we just covered. Emilia McKenzie and Mako Satomura took on Kaylee Ray and Ayla Dawn in our women's division match this week. It was a tag team match. And essentially, in a battle where Kaylee Ray and Ayla Dawn were trying to tell Emilia McKenzie that basically she was gone for 2 years and needed to build her way back up the ranks again, McKenzie and Satomura get the W after Emilia rolled up Ayla Dawn while Ayla Dawn was trying to get a fisherman's suplex locked in, and Miko kept Kaylee Ray outside the ring from getting the save. Next week, we get Amir Jordan taking on his former tag team partner and friend Kenny Williams. Saxon Huxley will take on Nathan Frazier, and Gallus will be appearing on Supernova Sessions with Noam Dar. And in our main event, we had Rampage Brown getting a title shot again against our NXT UK champion, Walter, in a match that was full of strong style hitting and 2 men holding no quarter at all. Walter retains his NXT UK championship again after getting a 2 count from the suplex and powerbomb, as he got the 3 count with his diving splash off the top rope. And that is your NXT UK report for this week.
Okay, right. So before we talk about this NXT UK report and what happened here, so I got the results from Hardcore Justice, which took place today, that we are recording this. And Seth, you might want to unmute yourself for this one. Su Yung is back. And apparently Su Yung took out Susan. Su Yung is back. They didn't waste any time bringing her ass back.
They realized something there in Impact Creative. Karen doesn't work.
Okay, so yeah. But yeah, Su Yung is back. She was actually in the weapons match to determine the number 1 contender for the Impact Knockouts Championship, which Tenille Dashwood won. So Tenille Dashwood is your number 1 contender, and she will next face Deonna Purrazzo, who defeated Jazz to retain the championship. So Jazz's career is over. Kind of felt that was going to happen. Matt Cardona beat Johnny Swinger in a Great American Bash match. Shira defeated Hernandez. Doc Gallows defeated Black Taurus in a singles match. Josh Alexander, his mystery partner was Petey Williams. They defeated the team of Ace Austin and Madman Fulton and the reunited TJP and Fallah Bahh in a triple threat tag match between the men who will face off for the X Division title at Rebellion. Sammy Callahan was in action and got a win in a singles match against Sam Bill. Jake Something defeated Brian Myers. And in the main event, Violent by Design, Eric Young, Joe Doring, Rhino, and Diener defeated Team Dreamer that was made up of Rich Swann, Eddie Mack, Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, and Trey Miguel in an 8-man hardcore war. So that was the results from Impact Hardcore Justice, which took place on today at 3:00. Hector had his volume down. I was just saying that Su Yung is back. But let's go back to NXT UK. The main event was the best match of the night, bar none. And all the matches were really good, but that was the best match of the night. That was British Strong Style and then some between those two. And I mean, we kind of felt that Walter would win it. I mean, we kind of felt it. So, I mean, what else can you say? Walter's reign just continues. He's going to reign forever at this point, in my opinion. But it was just a great match. I like the fact that Aoife Valkyrie's making her intentions known who she wants to face next. She's undefeated. She wants the best. And if you want the best, you're going to have to go after the best in the freaking world and Meiko Satomura. So let's get it. Let's go. So I like that. Aoife Valkyrie going after fucking Meiko Satomura. That should be a fun match to watch. I'm going to tell you something. That's going to be a fun match to watch. And big ups to Tyler Bate and Noam Dar in that Heritage Cup Rules match to determine who's going to face A-Kid. I do want to see A-Kid versus Tyler Bate again. I want to see that again, and we're going to get it. Not to say that A-Kid versus Noam Dar wouldn't have been really good, but I just want to see this more. So, really good episode of NXT UK with Prelude. It was a big event. It was supposed to be a big event. It was just basically just another regular event in addition to NXT UK, just with a title. But it was still a good show, and I had fun watching it. And remember, every week right here at this time, you have the NXT UK report from the basement where Sith gives you a recap of what happened on that week's show. All right, let's talk about SmackDown really quickly, and then we're going to get up out of here. And Hector is also with you, Sith, as he comments, yes, no more Karen.
Thank you, God.
Right. All right, so here we go, SmackDown. So let's talk about it, Sith. Number one bits. So your 5 bits. Number one, the promos from all 3 participants in the Night 2 main event match. The Fatal 4-Way for the Smackdown Tag Team Championships. That will be the Dirty Dogs, the Alpha Academy, the Mysterio family, and the Street Profits. The vignette that was played of Big E traveling around Tampa, getting his haircut to prepare for the IC Championship match. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And finally, Tamina versus Nia Jax.
Number one's Big E. Big E, a lot of people aren't buying him as a singles competitor, and I can understand that. He's been in the New Day for a long, long time. This was a solid promo saying, hey, we're in my hometown. I grew up, this area is my life. Literally. It put a really good emotional feel to it, so I really, really enjoyed it. And the promos, all 3 promos for what should be the Night 2 main event, Edge, Daniel Bryan, and of course my boss Roman, just great promos all together. Really enjoyed them. My favorite part is where Edge goes that Roman Reigns is Samoan Edge and compared Roman to the Green Monster at Fenway Park. That was awesome. And also Roman motioning to Paul and saying, who runs this? Why are the ratings gone up? Paul motions and says, you. And he turns to Jane and says, who made that possible? You getting that trophy? And he goes, oos. Just great, man. Just fucking great. honestly, the only, and this wasn't bad, okay? This was not bad. It's just what I enjoyed the least, if you will. And I'd have to say the Fatal 4-Way. It was a really decent match. It's what I enjoyed the least of the five. But I really wish they would have had this as well as the Battle Royal on Sunday night for the kickoff. But I understand the rationale because you want to have solid ratings. But all in all, this was hands down way better than Raw for a go home, to say the least.
Right.
Champ, you're five.
Yes.
The three promos that should be the main event for tomorrow night.
It is.
Okay. The backstage promo with the women's tag teams after Nia Jax versus Tamina. The Fatal 4-Way. Big E's hometown promo. And Bianca's promo.
All right, so the promos with the three men who are going to be in the main event of night two. I mentioned that when we did the preview. Definitely is top because I mean each promo had their different ranges. You had DB with the impassionate, fired up, I gotta do this. This is my last shot type of deal. That was his messaging. Then you had Edge with the "You're taking my spotlight. I'm the rated R superstar. I fought my ass off to get back here from having my career taken from me." And this, that, and the third. And it was very impassionate and fiery. And then you got Mob Boss Roman, cool, calm, and collected, and ever the asshole. And making it be like, look, there's a reason why this shit is popping like it is. It's because of me. That's all there is to it. My cousin just became the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And how did that happen? Me. The ratings are through the roof. How did that happen? Me. Y'all need me, basically. But when Edge called him a carbon copy of himself, when he called him Samoan Edge, I literally lost my shit. I said, Edge, you are a dick. And I love you for it. Right. So that was number one. Number two had to be it had to be Bianca's promo as well because another one where it felt like she was speaking from the heart, she was speaking with passion, and she was speaking, like this is something that she's long and worked hard for so long, and now she gets a chance to to achieve that. And even when Kayla asked the question, she was like, "Damn, Kayla!" like that reaction to it was so awesome. It just felt so natural the way that she was speaking, and so I really enjoyed it. Her promo. The Fatal 4-Way definitely is a low point. It was just all over the place. And I don't like the fact that this was the first defense that the Dirty Dogs have had as tag team champions in almost 3 months. And they retained. Like, I didn't like that at all. I would have loved for the story to be, the Mysterios become the first father-son tag team champions. Or hell, even the Gable Academy winning because they've been on fire as heels. I would have loved to have seen that, but for them to retain after not defending those championships for almost 3 months for them to retain was not a good look for me. So that was my low point there. And Hector, his bottom of the barrel was Nia versus Tamina, which I could understand. It wasn't a bad match, but I actually favored that match over the Fatal 4-Way only because of the fact that it's reinforcing what I said earlier about how Tamina and Natalya are just sneaky good when it comes to being a duo coming up in the tag team division. Top two, the three promos about the Universal title match and the Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown tag title. So he actually liked the tag team title match. I didn't like it because of the result. And just I would have liked for new champions to have been crowned. But I guess they got something for them Hopefully they'll be able to defend a little bit more frequently than once every 3 months because That's just weird to me. Anyway, we're coming up on almost 3 hours doing this, so I think we better wrap this thing up. It's time for our final thoughts segment. And as it says in the description, mine's a very somber one. So I'm going to let Sith go first, and then I'm going to make you guys sad, and then tell you what I'm doing on Monday and what we're doing for on Twitch. So Sith, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So a lot of you know this already. But next Saturday, I would have had my second vaccination shot. As a matter of fact, when Champ and I see you next week at our usual time between 5:30 East for our second season finale, I will be basically post lunch and post second shot. As I've said, after my first shot, I will let y'all know how I was doing. And after the first shot, drowsiness aside, it's been the only side effect so far. Now, I know that people are skeptical of not only the vaccination, but the virus itself. And there's something I like to say right here, right now. I know people personally that have fought and defeated COVID, as well as my tag team partners and brothers here on the pod. I know that there are people within the pro wrestling fan base, as well as wrestlers, who don't believe in the existence of the virus or the vaccines either. It's harmful, but we're all entitled to an opinion, even though the people that deny the existence of the virus, as well as the vaccines that are available if you get in line for them, are as much a risk as they believe that the virus is a complete lie. Nothing can be further than the truth. It's very much fucking real. Take it from someone who knows people who damn well fought and beat the goddamn virus. It doesn't know you from Adam or Eve, but it sure as hell can strike without notice. Now, as my girlfriend could attest, this has hit families as much as those who live alone as well, and with the same consequences. For those who want to deny the existence of the virus, yeah, fuck off. Okay, it's heartbreaking to me that people can live in fucking denial as though something doesn't exist when the evidence is in plain sight. As I've told my girlfriend as well, perhaps this is like the flu, and you have the choice to get the shot once a year to be vaccinated. It's not 100% foolproof, but for the sake of my health, my family, my colleagues, my girlfriend, and my friends, I am taking steps I deem necessary for our safety and future. For those who want to be like that fucking idiot over on Impact, who I stood by after his WWE tenure was over and denied the existence of the virus, know well that I consider him to be as much persona non grata as I do he who shall not be named. If you're offended by this, so fucking what? You don't know people that have been directly affected by this goddamn virus more than likely, then you likely would say, oh, they had nothing but the crud or the cold. It goes like this. I'm 28 days from being fully vaccinated, and I'm fucking terrified of needles. If I can come out, take 2 shots, and be at ease, so can you. If you deny the existence of the virus, I've got nothing to say to you at all. Just know that I want us all to cross over the hump and get back to normal. That's my final thought. And tomorrow in the basement, it's the conclusion of the top 180 homes you have to see before you die. The final chapter in the countdown, and so much more this weekend. Champ, floor is yours.
Right. So last week, when I did my final thoughts, it had to do with DMX. The night before he was rushed to a hospital, had a heart attack, and there was all kind of stories about him having a drug overdose, and he was in the hospital. And I didn't know where it was going to go with that. And unfortunately, uh, exactly a week after he was admitted to the hospital, he died, and it hurts. It hurts a lot. I was introduced to DMX in 99 2000 when I was just getting ready to come out of high school. I was introduced to that gritty gutter rap that he brought to the landscape, to the lexicon. The Rough Riders anthem was one of my favorite tracks. I really got introduced to him proper when I went away to college because I went to a college that was a large majority was folks from New York, and so they bumped a lot of his music, and so I really started to connect to him, and I think that what really made him special not only was his talent both on the microphone and on screen in movies and stuff like that, was the fact that he was transparent about his vulnerabilities and his faults. He wasn't some guy who was a star who tried to hide his faults and his downfalls and his demons. He never hid from those. He always showed them at the forefront of his life. And it seems like it's unfortunate that those same demons, those same faults, those same flaws are what ultimately have led to this man at 50 years old to now no longer be with us physically. And it sucks because again, this is the man who I listened to a lot when I got into adulthood and started listening to different music. He was one of those artists that I listened to along with guys like Jay-Z and Eminem and Nas and Ja Rule and all those, I really gravitated to that sort of music. I had someone on my Facebook friends list posted this, and I was one of the first to comment. He said, "So this is what it felt like when Tupac died," and I said, "It felt exactly like this. You feel like a piece of you that helped to mold you is now gone. Just like when Tupac passed, just like when Biggie passed, it hurt like hell. And now DMX is gone, and it hurts like hell. And it's going to hurt like hell when Jay-Z, Nas, when Eminem, when some of these other artists that we grew up on, LL Cool J, when they go. Because their music was part of our lives. And DMX's music was part of my life and a lot of people's lives. So I'm going to end this off by just saying to Earl Simmons, DMX, Darkman X, thank you. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the memories. My prayers to your family, your friends, your loved ones, and your fans. And Godspeed. I'm pretty sure that the first thing you did when you ascended was you went and found your little sister Aaliyah and gave her the biggest hug because you haven't seen her in so long. Thank you again, and goodbye. And that's my final thought. And of course, you can catch me this coming Monday. I will be on Sports on the Hill podcast starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Part of the Wizards Roundtable. We'll be talking about what happened with this week in the Wizards. They just got a big win last night over the Golden State Warriors as they're on a West Coast swing right now. So we'll see how that goes with them. Next, also, you can catch on the show. They will be talking about the Caps week as well as the Nationals finally getting their season underway. So they'll talk about that as well. So you're going to get Caps, Nats, and Wizards talk on Sports on the Hill podcast this coming Monday. Also, big plug. Next Friday, which is April the 16th. I will be making a special appearance on Upon Further Review with Brian Brennan, his podcast, where I will be breaking down and recapping WrestleMania as well as talking about other local DC sports stuff as well on that podcast. I was going to be on there possibly as the winner of his pool, but then someone came out of nowhere, was the only one that picked Baylor and ended up winning it from me, so that's fine. But I will be on his podcast next Friday, the 16th. Keep an eye out on our Facebook page for the link to that as well. And of course, you can catch myself and Sith. We said 7:30, but I'm thinking more 7:45 since there won't be no pre-show match. So I'm thinking maybe 7:45, 7:50. We go live to chat it up for a couple minutes before the start of WrestleMania 37. It'll be exclusively on Twitch, twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod. And then the same thing tomorrow night. We'll be live on twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod to talk about WrestleMania 37 Night 2. And Hector, I didn't mean to make you cry, but that I just had to get got my chest. I was thinking about that the entire time, and I said that's the one thing I gotta talk about. So there you go. There you go. There you go. All right, guys. For those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, we will be signing off here and going about our day. And again, you can catch us in about an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes to talk about and live stream react to to WrestleMania. For those watching on Twitch, we are getting ready to go and raid my good friend, someone who is really cool. Her name is Mariah May. She is a professional wrestler with in the UK. Currently, not really doing any shows right now because the UK is still starting to reopen and things like that. But she is a very good Twitch streamer. She is actually currently playing Mario Kart right now. So there you go. We're gonna go jump in there. She's playing some Mario. She's playing some Mario Kart. Oh shit, Grumpy, what's up, my dude? What's going on, man? Glad you were able to jump in, even though we're getting ready to wrap up here. We've been on for almost 3 hours, but we're just up. We just finished talking about the weekend review in wrestling, but we will be back on at 7:45 to talk about and live react to WrestleMania 37 night one. So I can't wait. We're getting ready to raid my good friend Mariah May, who's currently playing Mario Kart, and I'm pretty sure she would like at least a couple people to come in to say hello and check out House May. It's a great community, and I'm happy to be a part of that community. So if you don't mind, if you don't have anything to do, please feel free to join the raid. Go in and get ready to cut a rug and drink some tequila. Go ahead, Slim. I love it. Okay. Get your shit off, brother. Yes, indeed. Oh, guys, by the way, Grumpy Sniper. Y'all need to follow one Grumpy Sniper. He streams Call of Duty Warzone. Really great streamer. Really supportive, and I'm glad that he was able to be here to show some support for me. So big love and big shout out to you, my friend. But other than that, we're gonna get out of here. Guys, have a great one. We will see you in a couple of hours. We will see you in an hour or so for live reactions to WrestleMania 37 Night 1. Take care, guys.
Peace out.